She don't feel good. Mm-hmm. Oh shit. Oh, you want to get some sushi? I shoot. I go for some sushi. Yeah, yeah, that'd be perfect. I like that. That was good. Mm-hmm. Okay. Makes sense. That makes sense. All right. Love you. Oh, I could do it today. I mean tomorrow. All right. Love you. It was alright. It was alright. Mm. Let's see. No. I didn't play this one. Man. Okay, a couple ways to pull it out the graveyard. Okay. card draw. Oh, this push. You don't hit that. How fast can you bring that back? How fast can you bring that back? That's crazy. Can you do that in 3 times? If you do that on the 3rd turn, bro, like say 4th turn. Oh, you might be searching to get that done. Oh, you doing it next turn. Got both them bitches in there. Oh, that's crazy. Bro.
So right now, we have the risk of a U.S. federal government shutdown if the politicians don't come to an agreement by tomorrow, Friday, March 14th, by midnight. So I'm going to give you an update on the situation, I'm going to give you my prediction, and I'm also going to be exposing lies on both parties and the reality of the situation. Okay, so here's where we're at right now. So this is a Thursday afternoon, March 13th. So the federal government needs to pass their government funding bill by Friday, March 14th, by midnight. If they don't, then the federal government is no longer funded and they will shut down. Okay, now it's very important that you understand this. It's going to be crucial for the rest of this conversation. So the Republicans control the House of Representatives, 218 to 214. To pass this bill in the House of Representatives, they just need a majority vote. So if all the Republicans unite in the House of Representatives, and they can pass this without a single vote from the Democrats. Okay, but in the Senate, it's not the same thing. So in the Senate, the Republicans have 53 seats of the 100 seats. But to pass this in the Senate, they need 60 votes. So even if the Republicans unite in the Senate, they're going to need some of the Democrats to vote in favor of this, to pass it. Okay, so on Tuesday, March 11th, the government funding bill passed in the House of Representatives. The vote was 217 to 213. Only one Republican defected. So it's basically almost all the Republicans voting yes and almost all the Democrats voting no. Okay, so why did the Democrats vote no? It's because the Republicans did not get any inputs from the Democrats. Like, they literally didn't even ask the Democrats because they didn't have to in the House of Representatives because they have a simple majority. So obviously, I mean, if the Democrats didn't give any input on this, they're going to get upset. So I want to show you what the Democrats said.
Funding the government should be a bipartisan effort, but Republicans chose a partisan path, drafting their continuing resolution without any input from congressional Democrats. Because of that, Republicans do not have the votes in the Senate to invoke cloture on the House CR. Our caucus is unified on a clean April 11th CR that will keep the government open and give Congress time to negotiate bipartisan legislation that can pass. We should vote on that. I hope our Republican colleagues will join us to avoid a shutdown on Friday.
Okay, so now let me give you more details about this government funding bill.
Crypto has endured one of the most painful, one of the most brutal collapses that I've seen, certainly ever in a bull market, but even up there with some of the worst bear markets that have ever happened in this industry. Leading to the question, are we in a bull market? Is this what a bull market feels like? Certainly not. But is there a case to be made that this is part of a longer cycle and that we have seen something completely change with the very nature of how Bitcoin and crypto cycles actually work? What I'm going to be going over right now is going to show you my perspective on not only where we are in this particular cycle, if you can call it that, but it's going to make a case as to where we're going. And this is something that I've gotten a lot of confidence on over the last several days and weeks as we've gone through this change in direction. Whether you're going up or down, having the right framework as to why you're going that direction, how long it will last, and how to manage assets in the process is the ultimate key to winning whatever direction you're going. And with that said, I want to thank you for a few extra days off. I just beat the allegations on food poisoning. Took me a little longer than it should have, and it was
Oh, I didn't want a mulligan.
absolutely brutal. So thank you for the extra time off, and it feels good to be
Yeah,
back.
no way.
Now let's
That's
harken back, of course,
crazy.
over the last few weeks. I know I've been making a pivot. I started talking about playing defense. I went from all out, hold it, balls to the wall, ignore the FUD. This is the super cycle. We're holding to Valhalla, to saying, hey guys, we need to play some defense, and here is why. Let me recap this for you, because it started to become painfully obvious once you started seeing the rhetoric out of the new Trump admin. First off, it's not just crypto. Look at the stock market on Trump 2.0 versus 1.0. This is a massive cliff that it's fallen off of. Trump kept coming out every day saying stuff like, the sell-off doesn't concern me, even though Wall Street had its worst day since the 2022 market collapse. Just listen to this rhetoric about economic transition.
When it comes to the stock market, the numbers that we see today, the numbers we saw yesterday, the numbers we'll see tomorrow are a snapshot of a moment in time. And as President Trump has said, and I'm here to echo the remarks of this president and of this White House, we are in a period of economic transition.
We thought they weren't a fan of transitioning, but hey, here we are.
Top 10% of Americans are 40 or 50% of consumption, and that is an unstable equilibrium. The bottom 50% of working Americans have gotten killed. We are trying to address that. We're trying to get rates down, and could we be seeing that this economy that we inherited starting to roll a bit? Sure. And look, there's going to be a natural adjustment as we move away from public spending to private spending. The market and the economy have just become hooked. We've become addicted to this government spending, and there's a detox period.
A period of transition. Sell-off doesn't concern me. A detox period. The economy is hooked. These are the types of things that you hear massive hawks talk about. People who want to completely change the way that this centrally planned economy works. In fact, the way that the economy has been functioning since the 2008 bailouts, maybe a little even before that, with this era of money printing and stimulus, this is what they're talking about fixing. And this is a monstrously big problem to solve. This is not something that gets solved in one swift go, but this is something that the more they talk about, and if you really listen to them, if they're serious about this, which I think they are, this is the kind of stuff that will absolutely devastate markets. If they're really talking about completely removing government spending from the markets, well, that's not how the markets have been working. So the question is, how far can they push this without something breaking? Or is something breaking the goal? We'll talk about what we think is the goal a little bit later in this episode, because I think that it's intellectually lazy to say, oh, they're just erratic, there's no goal, chaos is the goal. No, this is clearly something that has been the game plan. They stepped foot on the gas on this particular plan on the first day they got into office, so clearly there must have been some forethought here. But let's jump in, because this is the end of it. In the same interview, they asked the White House correspondent, how far do stocks have to fall for the president to change course? She says the president will look out for Wall Street and Main Street. People should bet on this president. But as Trump has been saying, there could be a little disruption. And the disruption is being felt. I mean, if you look at this Tesla sell-off, which came down to 217, let's just go ahead and check out that fall. You have essentially a 55% fall from its recent highs, and the actual total value of that fall is 270 points. So if you look at that 270 points and you look at the worst Tesla collapses in its history, this is the weekly chart, you see that, okay, there's one here, you get a 63% fall for only 41 points, right? I think I have a logarithmic chart on here. Yeah, I have a log chart on. But if you go here and you see, okay, here, this is the worst collapse. This is the 2022 bear market. And you see that it collapsed 311 points, was the worst it ever came down. And you're now looking at something that has almost rivaled that, right? So you're looking at one of the worst sell-offs in one of the most popular stocks in the American economy. Certainly we know Tesla is obviously the center of this sort of Trump energy of the campaign, with Elon running, I mean, essentially helping run the government. But this is the thing that we didn't expect, which is that the black swan itself would be Trump. And the last time we had a black swan was the last bear market. The question now, with our total market caps, our total crypto market caps now sitting down about $1.3 trillion from the highs. And as you can see, if you just look at the total market caps and you look at the change in market caps and you look at the price action, you say, okay, what does this price action remind you of? Like, look at other places on the chart. Don't even overthink it. You know, it looks a lot like this, right? When was the last time you saw a price action that looked like this? I mean, it just looks like bear market collapses. And that brings up the question of, where are we in this cycle? What is this cycle? Because a lot of people are calling it a bear market. And I'm going to make the case for you right now out that it's not exactly a bear market, but it's not exactly this full-blown bull market that we thought we were in. But the real issue is that none of you have said thank you even once in this interview. I will go ahead and forgive you now for this, just once, but JD Vance won't. JD Vance will not forgive you. So what's the goal? That's the real question here. What is the goal of all of this? Because the question for me is always to figure out what comes next. We can be sad that we didn't sell in early December. We can be sad that we were looking at our portfolios that have drawn down, that we were expecting some kind of left translated early 2025 cycle. Everyone was looking for it. We didn't get the retail inflows. We didn't get a lot of things. But I think that when we look at what we didn't get and what we did get, we start to arrive at much more clarity. But before we get to how we're going to analyze the markets, how we're going to play the bags, I think we need to understand what's the point of all of this coming out of the Trump admin. Well, to me, it's very clear that this is an orchestrated plan. And whatever you think about Trump, I know that the world is pretty much split 50-50. 50% of the world think that he's a political genius, 50% of the world think that he's an erratic maniac, and you can't tell either side anything. I personally consider myself pretty objective. As someone who grew up liberal and kind of converted into this Trump camp over the crypto vote, I find myself very much so looking at things from an objective and specifically from a markets and crypto-based point of view. Now, the easy thing for me to do would be to throw a temper tantrum and say, you know what, I regret the vote, I regret supporting this president because my bags are down. But in reality, I think that there's more planning here and that there's more strategy going on than meets the eye. First of all, Bessent is obviously a cohesive and planned out actor. He's got a great reputation on both sides of the aisle, and he's very well respected. From what I understand, Trump approached Bessent with a question almost 3 years ago, saying, how do we take inflation down without killing the economy, without ruining the American dream? How do we fix this situation and put America back on the right track? And that is the question that Scott Bessent has been thinking about for the last several years, because they knew this situation with rampant inflation, with unsustainable asset prices, with unaffordable cost of living. They've known this situation throughout the entire second half of the Biden term, and they knew that if they won, they'd have to step into this and do something. So, to me, this is exactly what they plan to do. Whether we like it or not, we're in the midst of their plan. So what is that plan? We've talked about this because it seems like the erratic behavior is a strategy. Now, I think that this summarizes it. Fajau says, what if Trump wants a growth scare / recession so that long-term yields crater and he can issue century bonds to countries in exchange for security guarantees, thereby refinancing all the heavy T-bill supply into lower yield 100-year duration bonds and recalibrating the fiscal path. Now, this to me is an absolute mouthful, but you need to understand every single piece of it to understand why all of these aspects of what Trump's doing actually make sense. So first of all, let's disentangle this. Trump has been actually not only being hostile towards foreign governments like Russia and adversaries like China, but he's also been playing hardball with some of our best friends like China, like Canada, like Mexico. Those are our close allies, but Trump has been knee-deep actually threatening them with tariffs and all kinds of hardball-like negotiating tactics. He's also been going over to Europe and saying, look, we're not going to pay for all these wars in Russia. We're not just going to dump money into your defense. You guys are going to have to deal with it, right? So what is that actually doing? What Trump's doing is he's actually rearranging the entire playing field. He's wiping the monopoly board clean and saying, I don't care what properties you hold. I don't care how many times you passed go. We're going to have a new deal. And that new deal is going to be based off of completely new dynamics. I think what Fajau's saying here is pretty accurate, which is that Trump not only wants to refinance the debt, but he wants to do this in a way where he's using all of America's value, which is its military strength, its scariness against people like Russia and China, its ability to negotiate trade deals, to add tariffs, to take them away. He's using all of these pieces to say, hey, look, we have a debt issue. And if we don't fix this debt issue and we don't fix our inflation issues, then we're going to have a screwed up society where the middle class doesn't have any chance to get ahead. The people who elected Trump, the working class people, those are the people who actually Trump is trying to serve right now, because it's certainly not the asset holders. The asset holders are getting absolutely screwed right now. So I believe that this is the plan, right? And this is a massive plan, because essentially he needs to not only crash the markets a little bit, which he's doing, so that controls inflation, that kills inflation, so they can then lower interest rates. Once those interest rates are lowered, then the long-term debt is cheaper. So you can take this short-term debt rolling over and refinance it as long-term debt. Again, this can take several months, maybe it can even take a year or longer. We'll talk about timelines here later in the video. But the point is that if he's able to introduce a new type of bond and force other countries to buy it because they won't buy it voluntarily. And nobody wants to buy a 100-year bond, especially with the way that America's going right now. But if America's able to show, hey, look, we're controlling our spending. We're no longer a kid in the candy store with the spending. We're not going to overspend like crazy. And on top of that, we're now going to give you guys a hard deal, which is we were just being your homies at first. We were just being your trading partner. But now we're going to force you for security guarantees against Russia. Oh, you want security guarantees, which we've been giving you the whole time? Well, now there's a different cost, which is that you need to buy these new bonds. Because if nobody's buying our bonds, especially the long duration bonds, America has a big, big problem. But if Trump essentially says, you know what, America has a lot of other ways that we can get what we want, and we're going to start using them, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at more of America being a bully, saying this is what we need and we need it now, and we don't care if it's right or wrong or if it fits everyone else's definition of what should be. This is what it is. And that's kind of what I think is happening here, which is that Trump is looking at this whole playing field saying, I don't care what's happened before. We need to rewrite the rules of how America interacts with other countries. We need to rewrite the rules of these alliances that America has based on current present net value, which America has this incredible military force, the scariest in the world. We have this incredible economy, the most powerful in the world. And we also have crushing debt, inequality, asset bubbles, and other things that need to be fixed and can only be fixed if other countries buy our very long-term debt and if inflation goes away. So those two things need to happen. They need to happen, and then Trump can go ahead and start being nicer to the investor class. But the investor class has obviously done very well. The working class has done very poorly, and in order to fix that, there needs to be a correction in markets. There needs to be a correction in inflation. Inflation needs to go away, and America needs to fix its spending problem. And if that happens, there's a chance, not a guaranteed, but a chance that working class wages will start to then pace with the economy once again. So is the plan working? Well, what we know is that, Truflation has the U.S. inflation index around 1.3%. Look at this cliff that inflation has fallen off since Trump started his erratic tough talk about, tariffs. This, one day it's a 10%, the next day it's a 30%, the next day it's a 50% tariff. This is what's happening in markets is people, inflation's falling off a cliff. Markets are scared. We also got the official inflation numbers down to 2.8%. It was expected at 2.9, and so it came in cool under expectations, which is of course what you want. The real question is, where is this all headed? So let's go to the work of Arthur Hayes. He was the first one to call that we might be seeing a mini financial crisis emerging, and he called this back when Bitcoin was trading around $100,000. This was very, very aptly put, and I thought it was total fear-mongering at the time, but it reminded me of some of Arthur's best work at the beginning of 2022 when he was calling sort of macro doom-apocalypse that we started seeing forming in the sky. Anyway, he says this, which I think is one of the most important lines. I don't believe the markets realize how little time Trump has to actually accomplish anything. The markets believe Trump people can immediately achieve miracles. Like, that's not true. He doesn't have the ability to immediately accomplish anything. But what we have seen is that his personality and his demeanor have allowed him to kind of do things that maybe other presidents wouldn't be able to do because he's able to move markets out of fear, out of uncertainty because of his erratic personality, his sort of larger-than-life, what's-he-doing personality. So he calls for a retest here of $70,000 to $75,000. He said, what can snap us out of this funk? Some form of money printing by the Fed, the U.S. Treasury, China, Japan, etc., or concrete legislation that allows for permissionless crypto innovation. I do think that, Congress passing something would be great. In the end, though, we would really want some kind of liquidity stimulus. And we'll talk about liquidity here in a second, but if Bitcoin leads to the downside, it will also lead to the upside. That's one of the most beautiful parts about this, which is that if Bitcoin crashes first, which it did, it crashed way ahead of mainstream markets, it will also pump way ahead of mainstream markets. So beware, it will bottom first and it will top first. Those are the scary parts about being on the front end of the risk curve. So this is Hayes' goal right now, as of today. Be patient. BTC likely bottoms around 70K, 36% correction from 110K all-time high, very normal for a bull market, which he maintains we're in a bull market. Then we need Stonks, SPX, NDX to enter free fall. Then we get TradFi Muppet to go under. Then we get Fed, PBOC, ECB, BOJ, all easing to make their country great again. That's what, global stimulus, global quantitative easing. Then load the truck up. Traders will die trying to buy the dip, but if you are more risk averse and want central banks to ease and deploy more capital, you might not catch the bottom, but you also won't have to mentally suffer through long periods of sideways and potential unrealized losses. Now, if you're sitting here and you're already sitting on so many unrealized losses, I do think 70K, that's what I feel like is kind of the low. Maybe there would be a wick below there into that value range, but I think that you're not going to see lower than that. We already tested that area way too many times. I just don't see us going and just shredding below there. No, we didn't know anything about this Trump crypto presidency when we made our way first up to 70K. I don't think we need it to stay above there. That's just my take. I just don't think we should go that low. Ansem, who actually called this entire move astronomically correct, Ansem, who's been the best trader in the markets, he said a lot of people are over eager to call a bottom. When price shifts from multi-month ranges to the downside with volume, it typically indicates a mid to long-term shift in trend. Mid to long-term shift in trend. You will very likely have time to buy the bottom after a period of consolidation in a new range. V-bottoms are unlikely unless driven by a substantial shift in macro, which would be an identifiable tradable event that you could respond to in real time instead of trying to predict, respect the trend. Okay, so now's the time where I'm going to explain to you exactly where I think we are in markets, putting together everything that we know about what Trump's trying to do, the current price action, the global economy, the liquidity conditions, the inflation, the joblessness, the sell-offs in markets, the best traders in the industry, what they're saying about price, and of course, our sponsor, NordVPN. That's right, it might not be a bear market, but it ain't a good market. You gotta pay the bills, okay? NordVPN, it's the best VPN in the world. All of you need this VPN right now. You need it more than oxygen. Make sure you have a VPN. For real, it's the easiest way to protect yourself across the interwebs. It costs you like $2 a month or something. You get a big fat juicy discount using my link in the description below. It supports the channel and I appreciate it. Shout out to NordVPN for sponsoring this episode. If you're in crypto, you don't have a VPN, please check out Nord. It's almost free, it keeps you super safe online. There's no excuse for not using it. Once again, thanks to them for sponsoring the video, and let's get back to the content. So let's get to the chase here. Is this a bull market? What is the bull market? Because the biggest eye-opening moment that I've had over the last few years was realizing that my current framework of this 4-year cycle had actually been broken. And in my opinion, that's actually quite liberating, which is to divorce yourself from a cycle that really made sense, it worked, but it also was kind of shitty because you had these 1 or 2 year periods where things were incredible and then it goes back to the Stone Age and everything gets reset. And how can you really grow substantially in industry when every couple of years things get completely kneecapped down to almost zero? That's not what we want for the growth curve of the crypto industry. That's what happened in the 1999 sort of tech boom when you had the dot-com boom and bust, and then you had 20, 30 years of consistent growth. That's how people got nurtured into the tech world and grew with it. That's what we need in crypto. And I believe, and I will be making the case right now, that we are seeing the first extended cycle for Bitcoin and crypto, one that has nothing to do with the 4-year cycle anymore, but has everything to do with macro liquidity conditions. And those macro liquidity conditions, while they do tend to ebb and flow in 4-year cycles, they do also tend to expand in much longer cycles over decades. So check this out. One, I'm just going to claim a little bit of clout because I drew this black line. You can see I drew it starting here on the 25th. I drew this black line right at this double top here, coming down. And as you can see, drawing these lines actually kept me from caring too much. When we got into this reflexive top when they announced the crypto summit, I said, you know what, I'm not playing it. I'm just not buying it, right? I actually sold stuff here, and I actually was, public on Twitter saying I was selling stuff. I have this whole thread in there. I also made a couple of videos talking about how I sell stuff. I made another video up here in this red zone saying I was selling stuff because I just wasn't believing that we were going to be holding these areas based on some crypto conference where people were expecting something magnificent to be announced. I don't know, something crazy. It certainly wasn't. So I knew that this was going to be a bit of a trappy area. Where we were obviously we got an absolutely scary drop here, but I thought it was pretty obvious that it was coming after Sunday morning of seeing the market roll over, seeing the rhetoric out of Trump. Anyway, I thought this was a pretty cool series. I'll keep updating it here, though in the end, I will be looking to add down here in this heavy buy zone. I've been nibbling a very small amount, but not a lot, I'll be honest. I haven't been going hard here. I'm waiting for a little bit more blood here, and just waiting for a little bit more clarity as to what's going on the Trump side, because I think that their job is not yet finished, certainly nowhere close to being finished. So I'm not really sure that we've gotten to see the extent of the damage to markets. Now, could this be as low as crypto goes? Maybe. I don't know. I certainly, if I'm forced to, if we get back into this green zone, I'm rebuying everything. But I'm not convinced that that's where we're at just yet. This doesn't look very bullish to me yet. It still looks like we want to explode lower before we go higher. And getting back to this tweet, which I think is really important, when the market has been up only, has been in this bullish posturing for a significant amount of time, these bottoms can take a while to form and, reverse. It's not like you're going to miss it in just one instant. I think you're going to have plenty of time to get situated here. I don't think it's just going to be like an instant rocket ship. I think it'll be a recovery that takes some time. So That's the other thing I want to impress upon you is if you did pull any cash out and you're looking to invest more, I think there's going to be time here, time to heal. But let's look at some other things here, which is this 10-year bond. The 10-year bond is down significantly from when Trump took office, clearly showing that some of his plans, at least, are working. Some of his plans are working. We need to see this come a lot lower there. So it's still a lot of work to get this down into that 2% range, which I know is probably where he wants to get. Now, make no mistake, there can be bounces. There will be massive bounces. You plan to trade those, good luck, have fun, not my speciality. But now let's get to the point of this whole video, which is, what is this cycle? What is the cycle we're in? And if you look at ETH BTC, what you'll see is something pretty important. Because what this line down here is the Fed balance sheet. We know that we're in quantitative tightening. And we saw that this particular trend lasted all the way until the Fed stopped tightening, which is this first vertical line. We know that the Fed is going to stop tightening some point here. And of course, what Donald Trump and co are doing are going to force that to happen, potentially even to start easing. And so what we see here is that they might even force this line to go back up a bit in not too distant of a time. What we know is that this particular trend of essentially bleeding against Bitcoin was happening all throughout 2019 and 2018. This is what was happening, okay? And what we're seeing is that this is just looks like a longer, slower bleed out version of it with a longer, slower bleed out version of quantitative tightening. And if we go over to the Ethereum US dollar pair, and this is research that I saw first on Benjamin Cowan's channel, and this to me explains the theory very, very accurately, which is you had this period where ETH was just in this uptrend in 2019 during quantitative tightening. This is that line at the bottom. This is the Fed balance sheet overlaid. And you can see that this lasted 217 days, which is this uptrend of ETH during quantitative tightening before it broke down in the 2019 sort of mean reversion. And what I'm going to be making the case to you right now, and let me go ahead and make this clear, I'm going to be making the case to you right now that what we're seeing isn't actually a bear market, not like this. I'm going to be making the case that we're actually seeing a bear market like this, which was a retracement from a mean reversion. What happened in 2018 was we got this bear market, but then we got this massive bull market in 2019. Anyone here knows that this was one of the weirdest parts in the market after 2018, because a lot of us were altcoin degens at that time, and we still are. But what happened in this period was Bitcoin went from a bottom of about $3,000 all the way up to a high of $14,000, which is, what is that? A 4.5x pretty much. And it was magnificent. But what was scary is altcoins pretty much didn't move. Bitcoin dominance was explosively up. It was exactly almost the same as what we've seen, just hard and fast. Okay, this is what we call a mean reversion, because essentially it's settled. If you see the closing price here, you can see that it's settled about 50% of the way, the distance between the low and the high. You can see that this mean reversion right here was exactly where the closing prices were. This was just a massive collapse and then a mean reversion, which are normal types of bounces in markets. And so my particular opinion, which I started explaining the foundations of last cycle, was that we had a mean reversion where we came down from 69K to 20 or 16K. And if we were to get halfway between those numbers, we'd get about $40,000, right? That would be a normal mean reversion. And we were probably headed somewhere there, but we ended up getting these once in a lifetime stimuli from the ETF going live, from the first crypto president, from Trump saying, you're going to win. You're going to get a Bitcoin strategic reserve. All these amazing things that, are pretty much like candy in the ear of a crypto investor, and FOMO'd in a lot of institutional and new money into the space. We had a lot of ETF money coming in, and all of these changed the dynamic of the 2019 mean reversion, which both of the mean reversions happened during a period of quantitative tightening, and both of the mean reversions happened with pretty much Bitcoin dominance going to the moon, and altcoins really shouldn't have done anything, but because there was so much money in the space, the hot ball of money went around pumping altcoins, and there was some fabulous fortunes created. But really, this was part of a recovery of the market, not an actual bull market, but just the mean reversion aspect that happened in 2019. I think we've seen an extended version of it over the last 2 years or so. If you were to look at the 2019 move out of ETH from the bottom to where it actually broke down through this trend, you see that it has about 217 days. And here you can see that it's about 994 days from the bottom here to where it actually broke down. So it's been about 4 times as long, a little more than 4 times as long, this particular era when compared to the 2019 move. But so many other similarities line up, from Bitcoin dominance being sky high, to quantitative tightening, to ETH essentially underperforming, altcoins underperforming, specifically ETH as the king of the altcoins. I think that there's a serious case to be made that we've seen a 2019 with just You know, if you were playing Mario Kart, you essentially got a bunch of blue Bowser shells. You pick those up nonstop as you were supposed to have a bad lap, but because you got the blue Bowser shell, you were just able to run and gun and take out a bunch of people in front of you and make a bunch of progress that maybe in a normal market you wouldn't have, right? Without the ETF application, without the ETF approval, without the first crypto president, without legalizing crypto, the golden age, without all of these one-time stimuli that really propped up and pushed the market forward in, let's just say, an amazing but maybe not a natural organic way, that to me is a reason to believe that we have seen what would have been a mean reversion on Bitcoin essentially look like an explosive bull market. But really, we haven't even seen a true bull market yet. Now, to be clear, I think the safe play here is just to wait for markets to kind of come down. Clearly, Trump wants to collapse markets. He wants to bring interest rates down. He wants to reset the clock, and he does not have a lot of time to do that. Remember, this is his last term. He has to act quickly. He does not want to end his term in a recession. He wants to get this over with quickly, reset the clock, reset the game board, and by his second half of his term, see things booming. That's what he wants to see. But there's another question. Do we have to wait for all of that ugliness, or will crypto start reacting to another force, which is, of course, global liquidity? We've been showing this chart because Bitcoin really does parity global liquidity pretty well. Remember, it's a global asset, and we can see global liquidity has been coming down a lot. But the reality is that Bitcoin hasn't quite matched it yet. You can see that the global liquidity here has Bitcoin and its fair market value price coming down potentially into the low 70s, which is, again, where the charts line up to, which is, again, where everything kind of has this confluence around those low 70s, mid $70,000 area. Could it go a little bit above that, a little bit below that? Of course, these are not hard and fast rules. There's no guarantees here. There's no guarantees in the crypto casino. Again, it shows you the more or less the path for Bitcoin. I think the real question, though, as people who are on this channel are probably largely into altcoins are wondering, well, when are we going to see this massive relief, this massive run for alts? And I think that that's going to happen much more reliably once interest rates come down, once the entire situation that Trump is doing is complete. That's when we will start to see risk return into altcoins. That's when we will start to see risk return into other kinds of stocks, not just Google and Amazon. That's when we will start to see the economy start to flourish and bloom again with low inflation, low interest rates, lower deficits, and a more sturdy foundation for the country. That is the hope. But that process is not an instant process. It could take a few weeks, could take a few months, it might take a year. And I think that it's important to remain dependent on the data, to remain dependent on some pretty clear signals, which I don't think are going to be masked from us. This is not a game of masking what's going on. Remember, Trump came out on day one and said there's going to be pain. He told us to our face. You could have chosen to believe him or not, but if you sold on day one when he started saying there's going to be pain, you probably would have avoided some pain. There's a big camp online of people who think that Trump never says what he actually thinks. I personally think the opposite. I think he says too much and too accurately of what he thinks, and that's what throws people off, is that he doesn't sugarcoat, he just says what's on his mind. And in this particular case, I think that they are looking to cause and inflict acute pain and then have an acute recovery that is not based on just massive unequal spending and inflationary spending. I think that their goal is to lower interest rates, lower the deficit, lower inflation, and then grow into a new cycle, a new business cycle. So my particular demeanor is, let's see, maybe global liquidity hits a floor and we start to moon later in the year. That very well could happen for Bitcoin regardless. Every other country on earth wants to stimulate, needs to stimulate. China's economy is in desperate need of new stimulus, and they are pushing money into the markets. You see this from across the world as well, with Germany now worried about their defense spending, and they're now spending $1 trillion on defense. There is a ton of money that is being cranked out from around the world, but the question is Bitcoin more loyal to the US economy and what Trump is doing, or is it more loyal to just the global whispers of liquidity? We're going to find out which particular model is most dominant in Bitcoin land here in the next few weeks and months. But it's important that you realize that this risk-on, crazy, wet and wild altcoin bull run that I've been waiting on, that you've been waiting on, that we all are going to use to retire our bloodlines. Well, I don't think it's going to happen in just a small 3 to 6 month period like we thought before. I think we might be looking at a multi-year, maybe even a decade-long process of altcoins growing, more similar to the stock market, the NASDAQ that we know and love, where you have these protocols continuing to grow and compound in a favorable environment. Because when I look at this ETH chart, I see an extended cycle, a super cycle. Again, super cycle doesn't mean up only and only up. It means longer, right? Super cycle means it's not just a 4-year pump and dump. It means that it's going to go on and on and on. And that's what I think we're looking at right now. We've seen the first 2019 part, which means that this part, this next part, which only lasted for a year or so last time, well, it might last 4 years this time. If the mean reversion is 4 times as long, the bull market very well might be 4 times as long. And so as painful as this is, I can't help but be excited that maybe, just maybe, we will get cheap, affordable housing in the country. We will get 0 or very low inflation. We will get a rate cut cycle that sends interest rates almost to 0. And that we will get, hopefully, a 2, maybe even a 4, maybe even an 8-year bull run for our beloved crypto assets, where your favorite protocols could multiply, not just 10x or 50x, but these could be the generational runs where if you are in and you pull through it, I think that this is truly the make it cycle. But it's going to take some time for us to see the macro factors become accommodated. You're going to need the Fed to get in line with Trump's plan, which could take a bit of pain. We know that it's going to take a bit of pain before Jerome Powell is forced to act, and that to me is the plan. We're going to see pain, and then hopefully we're going to see a ton of gain, which is why I did take some cash on the table. I'm not in any rush to deploy right now, but I'm going to be eagerly watching this market and updating you on my thesis, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation as to why I believe this is an extended 2019, as to why I believe that we will also see an extended 2021, an extended bull run, but it's going to take a bit of time before the transition is complete, and we're not just going to get it based on some cheap sugar high dopamine of government stimulus, of government spending that instantly ruins inflation. We're going to hopefully see it happen in a sustainable and long-term way with a more sturdy foundation from the United States, and hopefully for the working class as well, so that the society we live in is not totally screwed. So that if we are so lucky as to get filthy rich from this, the society that we live in is not totally screwed up as well. If you guys enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Smash the like button and make sure to watch this video popping up right now.
There's a lot of ways to make money in America, but I want to tell you about a business model that's going to get you to look at this in a completely different way. Let's get right into it. Think about this. If you and I run a hospital, we got 200 beds. If there's empty beds, you and I are not making money, so we need sick people to come to the hospital to make money. That's how we make money. If you and I own a hotel, we got 500 rooms. Guess what? If our rooms are empty, we don't make any money. We need people to come and stay in our hotel so we can make money, right? Now, imagine a business model where you needed more wars for you to make more money. Let me say that one more time. Imagine an industry you're a part of that you need more wars, potentially people dying for you to make more money. That's like the Department of Defense. That's defense contractors. The more wars, the more money. You know how Papa John says, better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John. Defense contractors, ready? More wars, more people die. Defense contractors. So before I piss some people off, I'm pro-military. I was at the 101st Airborne, and I love the fact that U.S. has got a strong military, but there's some people, some companies, that are seeing it as a way of making a ton of money, and today we're going to dive into different data that's going to show to you where we compare to other countries on how much money we're spending and how much profit's being made. So if you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into it. I've been in the insurance industry for 23 years. There's a product in the insurance industry called life settlement. So life insurance companies, when they buy a product, they want you to either live a long life because they're never going to have to pay out the life insurance policy, or they want you to kind of cancel your insurance policy 15, 20, 30 years later, right? Like you had a good age, you're healthy, cancel now, they keep the money, you're good to go. But there's a segment of life insurance called life settlement. Very profitable. What life settlement companies do is they go to an 80-year-old who's got a $5 million insurance policy, whose premium's going up, and it's like paying $3,000, $4,000 a month, who can't afford it anymore. And say, I can't afford to pay $3,000, $4,000 a month. The life settlement company will say, hey, Mr. Jones, you got a $5 million insurance policy? No problem. How about I give you $1 million cash up front? I'll take over the payments, but when you die, that death benefit is coming to me. That's called a life settlement. So now, you may say, that's crazy. Wait a minute. The 80-year-old is sitting there saying, man, that's crazy. I mean, there's nobody else I can pay this insurance policy to. My wife is dead or my husband's dead. Fine, I'll take the $1 million and you can take the rest. I'll give it over to you. Fantastic. That person got $1 million. They're happy. You're the person that bought the policy. you're not paying a payment $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, guess what you're doing every day of your life? Did that guy die yet? No. Every day you're celebrating. We're waiting for that person to die. The sooner they die, the bigger rate of return you make. So it's a weird industry to be a part of. Some call it noble, some have a hard time selling this product. But here's the moral of the story. You're incentivized to hope for that client to die sooner, later, someday. Military, industrial complex, defense contractors, Boeing, all these Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, they all make more money. The more wars they have, the more conflict there is, the more issues taking place, they make more money. That's simply how it is. Now, it's not illegal. Nobody's doing anything illegal, but that's your business model. Having said that, I want to share a few things with you. Okay, so what the U.S. Congress is right now working on is a bipartisan effort to address the problem with Pentagon falling victim to price gouging from defense contractors. So now I want you to think about this. Shai Assad, who was a former executive VP and chief contract negotiator at Raytheon and Defense Department's most senior and awarded contract negotiator, said the following. He said the roots of the problem can be traced to 1993 when the Pentagon, looking to reduce costs, urged defense companies to merge, and 51 major contractors consolidated to 5 giants: Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, General Dynamics, Northrop Grumman, and Boeing. That could have been the dumbest thing they could have done. Why? Because you have 51 companies competing for number, so you and I taxpayers can get the best rate. Now they're saying, nope, there's only 5 companies you can go through, and those 5 kind of said, well, listen, guys, we can compete as much as we want, but we're kind of on the same team as well because there's no other company. We got everybody. Thank you to the government. Wink, wink. We're good to go. Here's one thing to keep in mind. The Pentagon overpays for almost everything. Radar, missiles, helicopters, planes, submarines, everything down to the nuts and bolts. Matter of fact, NASA once paid $10,000 for an oil pressure switch that only cost $328. And in the competitive environment, before the companies consolidated, a shoulder-fired Stinger missile that cost only $25,000 in 1991, with Raytheon now being the sole supplier of that missile, it now costs more than $400,000 to replace each missile sent to Ukraine. Guess what? It's a beautiful place for these guys to be. You got a monopoly. You're the only person that can sell it. What a beautiful place to be. I got no 6, 7 other people to compete against. No. Guess what? What? Used to be $25,000. What do you think we should sell it for, Johnny? I think 400 grand is 400 grand. Hey, you ain't got nowhere else to go. You got to come through me. So in a 60-minute interview, Bill Whitaker is interviewing General Bogdan, who's a 3-star lieutenant general with the Air Force. And Bill Whitaker's talking about what's wrong with profits being made. There's nothing wrong with profit. This is America. This is our system. Chris says, no, there isn't. But taking to an extreme industry may not make the best decisions in the best interest of the government. And he continued to say, we've only begun to feel the full impact. In 2012, he was tapped to take the reins of the troubled F-35 Joint Strike Fighter program. It was 7 years behind schedule and $90 billion over the original estimate, but Bogdan told us the biggest costs are yet to come for support and maintenance, which could end up costing taxpayers, ready? $1.3 trillion. That's maintenance. $1.3 trillion you're paying for. He continues, says, we won't be buying too many F-35 planes as we thought, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to buy airplanes, more airplanes, when you can't even afford the ones that you currently have. And this continues, by the way, according to 60 Minutes, contractors overcharge the DoD on almost everything the military buys each year. Almost half of the Pentagon's budget for the upcoming...
Because I feel like there are a lot of couples that go through the
Oh, what?
Hi, I want to talk to you today about my friends at Bitwise and why they're the best crypto asset manager out there. So many investors I know are working with Bitwise today. They've got more than 20 products to help investors get whatever access they need or want. They've got a team of more than 100 across the US and Europe. They have more than $10 billion in client assets. It's not just the products that show they're all in. They've even supported the ecosystem by donating 10% of their Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF profits to open source developers. And they were the first company to publish their Bitcoin ETF wallet address. Like I said, these guys are true OGs. So please go and check out Bitwise. They really are excellent. Go to bitwiseinvestments.com and see all they've got to offer. That's bitwiseinvestments.com, or just email them at james@bitwiseinvestments.com.
Egypt! Hey, you want to go downstairs with that? You going to go downstairs, you going to be doing that. Okay?
In an unprecedented feat, scientists have achieved the impossible. They have frozen pure light, making it behave like a solid. Our next story explains how this mind-bending discovery, which in a way challenges our entire understanding of reality itself. Take a look.
What is the fastest object in the universe? Well, it's light. Einstein formulated that nothing could exceed the speed of light. Now, in a discovery that borders on the supernatural, physicists have achieved what Einstein himself would have called impossible. They've frozen beams of light into a crystalline structure, creating the first ever photonic solid. Scientists at the Institute of Advanced Photonics in Milan have achieved the seemingly impossible. They've forced light particles to remain perfectly still while maintaining their photonic properties. This isn't merely slowing light down, it's creating an entirely new state of matter that defies our fundamental understanding of physics. In a paper published in Nature, the team of Italian nanotechnologists and physicists explain how they fundamentally altered our understanding of light's properties. The light they've manipulated has become a true supersolid, maintaining a crystalline structure while simultaneously exhibiting superfluid properties. This achievement challenges conventional views on the laws of nature while making light more controllable and stable. The practical applications extend to advanced optical technologies and quantum computing, potentially revolutionizing how we process and transmit information while opening doors to discovering entirely new forms of matter.
For all the latest news, download the WeOn app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Antimatter. Ooh. Oh, look at that. So there really is antimatter. It is real.
Okay.
It is real.
And what is it against? Why is it against matter so much?
Yeah, antimatter, once we came to understand the behavior of particles, then their fields in which they operate and they move, their forces, and if you took a step back and looked at them, there was a prediction that it enabled. It said, this allows there to be a particle, such as the electron, but moving backwards through time. And then you say, well, that's weird.
That is weird.
What does that mean? And so it took some smart heads to come to it and say, well, maybe it's not an ordinary particle moving backwards in time. It is an extraordinary particle moving forwards in time. Thus was born the concept of antimatter. So antimatter would be a particle where the quantum properties are the opposite of what they are for matter.
Okay.
So an antimatter, so what's the charge on an electron?
Negative.
Negative. The charge on the antimatter version would be positive. So rather than calling it an anti-electron, which you can, you're allowed to.
Right.
You're allowed to.
That
We
makes
came up with
sense.
the word for it.
What?
Positron.
A positron.
That's where you get positron.
Keeping it positive.
Keeping it positive. So, what we learned is that if you take an antimatter and matter particle and you bring them together, they annihilate.
So,
What?
I'm weirded out by that because isn't there like conservation of energy?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no. Conservation of mass.
Mass energy. Right.
Yeah. Back in the day, conservation of mass, conservation of energy.
Right.
Einstein comes along and says, dude, that's one equation.
Right.
E equals
MC squared.
You have E on one side, M on the other.
Right.
That's what's conserved. So, add up the masses
Stupid shit.
of these two particles. Look it up. By the way, the masses are identical. Of a positron and an electron. Look them up. Write down that number. Stick it in E equals MC squared. E comes out the other side. If you convert all of that mass into energy, that's how much energy you're going to have.
Okay.
Coming out the other side.
That's cool, man.
That's cool.
That's really
And you know what C squared is?
the constant that is the speed of light.
Yeah, exactly. It's the speed of light squared.
Squared.
So, numerically, oh my gosh, you start off with a little bit of mass, you get a lot of energy at the end of it.
That's crazy.
Because you're multiplying by the speed of light squared. Okay?
From that tiny little bit of
Yes.
mass.
Yes.
Hold up.
Okay?
Is that why nuclear Is that why they blow up the way they do?
The point about matter antimatter is that it is pure. There is no matter left at the end of that exchange, at the end of that interaction.
Okay.
It's pure energy. Whereas the bombs, they're not even matter antimatter.
Right.
There's like, you still have some matter at the end. It lost maybe 10% of itself.
Right.
Okay? Whatever the 1%. It's some small percent of itself is that deadly. Okay?
Oh man, so we need to figure out an antimatter bomb.
That was not the point of this show.
I mean,
So now, you can have the neutron.
okay.
Well, what would be an anti-neutron if it's neutral?
That's my point. How you gonna have a anti-neutral particle when you don't have a charge?
Exactly.
It doesn't have a charge.
So what's a neutron made of?
I don't know.
Quarks.
Well, I knew that.
Okay? Well, the quarks are a fraction of weight.
Okay.
They have to because a proton has a full charge of +1.
Right.
Plus, okay?
Right.
If you made of 3 particles, each of them has to have a fraction of a charge.
All right.
Okay? It adds up to +1 for the proton, and it adds up to 0 for the neutron. Okay?
Gotcha.
How do I annihilate the neutron? You get the anti-neutron. It's made of anti-quarks.
Oh, jeez.
Okay?
So wait a minute.
Right, so
For antimatter, does every particle in the universe have like an opposite
Yes.
particle?
yes,
Holy crap.
yes, yes. That's what's profound. It is profound.
So basically, there is an actual opposite world. There's an actual opposite world. There's an opposite universe.
I'm getting there. We produce antimatter all the time in the laboratory. How do you make matter? Get a pocket of energy that is enough
so that if you converted that energy back to matter, you can make an entire particle out of it.
Okay.
Okay? So in other words, we are illuminated by lights, stage lights.
That.
Okay? Yeah, right. Those photons are visible light.
Absolutely.
If you say, well, there's an energy of a visible light photon, let me convert it using equals mc squared, see how much mass that would get me. If I converted it into matter, there is no particle light enough for visible light to turn into.
Gotcha.
This is a very important fact. I don't want to move forward until I hear that you understand this.
So here's the deal. But there's no. Say that again. I just got to get
Okay?
it.
We've got photons moving through the air. Right. Okay? Here they go.
They're kissing me right now.
There they are. Okay? Grab one of them and say, can you be a particle? A matter particle? Well, let's find out. How much energy do you have, Mr. Photon? Madam Photon? Plug that into the equals mc squared formula. See how much mass equivalent it is. If that mass equivalent is below the lowest mass particle, it will never make a particle. It'll just travel through the universe forever. If you have a photon that has enough energy so that when you plug it into this formula, you have enough mass to make a particle, it can spontaneously turn into matter. Damn! Yes. Spontaneous.
That's crazy.
Wait. So now, because if I'm going to make matter, if I'm going to make like an electron,
Right.
I can't just make an electron out of energy because I started out with no net charge.
Right.
I started out with no net particles.
Next beat the players today is OT 114 and 113. Go ahead, load up the Drake. Tell British for game yesterday.
That is a good question though, because even with you, like kids when you was at Pike, y'all really was supposed to have a crazy whip. A lot of people disappeared when y'all was in school.
Had to.
Like Morgan Newton, just say a few names, not to throw them.
Shout out to my dog Morgan.
Yeah, Q and them, they left.
So opportunity.
Yeah.
The block was too hot.
Yeah, especially in that guard position.
You talking about all these people who are on Division 1 point guards.
Yeah, that's a damn near make me think about y'all school. I was like, damn, I'll tell you now, they had every cold guard, nigga.
But I ain't gonna lie, it ain't no shade, nothing, especially in my dog Q. But once you left and you got your opportunity, you hoop. But when adversity hit, it made it, you were like you went through that. When adversity hit, you was used to it.
Okay.
Like if you went to school or wherever you went, you used to fighting through something like that. Cause I wanted to leave.
Yeah.
And if I would have left, I think that would have played a role when I was at Wake Forest. And when I wasn't playing, the issues there, I probably been like, I probably been like shit. But battling Tony James and Reese and all them for playing time all the time, I was used to it. Like, so I just gotta kill him. I gotta do this. I gotta show him better than this.
Yeah.
That's what made me not have friends though.
Okay. That was the downside of it.
Yeah, that's the downside. I ain't had no friends. Like, Ish was just so nice that he still was my friend. But
Shout out to Ish. I'm talking about
it was the other way around. I would not been his friend. You know what I mean? If he was acting how I was acting, he just a nice guy. And even like in school, like me and Reese and all them, we competed and like we damn near didn't like each other almost. Like we rock with each other.
Yeah.
I guess if we had to, but we ain't really like each other.
Okay.
Shout out to Cheat, my dog, for sure.
Cause we was competing.
Yeah, niggas was competing for sure.
It's like a little dangerous. You know, he's like, bro, we competing too much.
Yeah.
We ain't.
Kids miss that in school though now. It ain't like that no more.
But the crazy thing is both y'all went to the league, y'all respective sports. Yeah. But the thing was we still wanted to win. Yep. Yeah. Like I wanted to, when we got on the court together, they still wanted to win. But when we was in practice, it's like I'm better. Yeah. But that adversity give you a little. When it's always handed to you, bro. Man, when it's not handed to you in your future.
When you get older, it
at
comes
some point you gotta deal with
handicaps.
the rubber meet the road.
And
I seen a bunch of people. I ain't say
boy, by the time then, boy.
I ain't say Rose Spark.
For real adversity.
I ain't say Rose Spark. Rose Spark you should do that here personally.
No, without the rubber.
Hey, play the clip.
Explain Mike.
What game? Wow.
Remember how everybody hated this jumper early in the year?
It look different now.
Well, that first game, that just sounded wicked. That's our versus
Speaking of
Craig.
something, it is.
Yes.
It's like those jumper.
Yeah, it is. I'm tired of you telling on me.
Hey, look at Cat arms though. Please play again.
Yeah, any nigga reach out for a hug like that is crazy.
Please play again. Look at Cat arms in the
I
corner.
definitely don't want to have
Cat, I'm not supposed to throw you the ball here, nigga. 2 seconds left.
Look how he reach out for a hug. Like, let it cool, bro.
That's a nasty ass team, man. Shout out to the
Oh, man.
Oh man, listen, Mikael Bridges was crazy yesterday. 33 in the game winner. OG hooped out with 23-7. Cat didn't stank with 21-7. Scoop had 30 yesterday, your mans. Unfortunately, they took the L yesterday. It's funny because Mikael Bridges in like an interview, I guess, basically talking about the playing time with Tibbs, and Tibbs responded, quote unquote. Could we play that clip, please?
Tibbs don't give a fuck what they talking about.
Tibbs broke it down real simple.
I like to hear what he said.
We've never had a conversation about it, but the facts are the facts. And when you look at our team, the way it works is Jalen plays 35 minutes. He's in the top 20. I think he's 20th or 21st in minutes played. Cat is a primary scorer. He plays less than Jalen, so he's like 25th in the league in average minutes. Your wings play more, right? So they're matched up with primary scorers. So the way it works is if Jason Tatum is in the game and Jalen Brown is in the game, OG will be in the game and Mikael will be in the game. When those guys go out, they go out. They come back, they come back. We try to keep the matchup.
That's
When
a
you look
fact.
at the league, all those guys are playing 36, 37 minutes, whether it's Durant,
About 10 more seconds.
Tatum, Brown, the wings are going to play to their primary wing defenders. So that's the way it works. And then sometimes you're caught in matchups. So the Lakers are big wings, so you got to deal with that. When you look at Mikael's minutes have gone down. We started the season with Landry hurt and Deuce not 100%. So our wings did play more. So are they playing a little bit more than I would like to? Probably 35, 36 is where that's where Mikael is. So you look at the last 10 games, he's playing 35 minutes a game, and 4 of those games are overtime.
Yeah. Hey, Tibbs broke it down very simple for y'all. Talking about he be killing people. I know that we gonna let them drugs fly anyway, but it all makes sense to me.
Nah, shit. Y'all see? Let cut your minutes down to 29. Yeah, has to be mad as fuck. Well, trust me, I was one of them guys. Play 29 minutes and you go somewhere and play 36. You like, oh, I could have averaged 20 miles for real.
Yeah, you just gotta stay healthy.
That's all you gotta do. But man, don't nobody want to come out the game. Man, scratch off. They don't want to come out the game.
This cat.
It's cat, fam, bro. I mean, I talked to PJ Tucker yesterday. People do not want to come out the game. I used to see him run to the bench and be mad when it's something like, what are we doing? Like, he played 43 minutes.
Yeah.
Shout out to Peter. It was Nick.
Yeah, when you competing too, you definitely don't want to come out.
I just used to want to come out the game. Like, when I was in my prime, I did not want to come out the game. I used to be shit. Like, what? Sit on the bench for 8 minutes straight?
Dang.
Yeah.
And you watch Kyle Lowry playing 38 minutes a game, you like,
Yeah, BBL Kyle.
nah, I'm just saying, you do not want to come out the game, bro. So, that's cool. You ain't never heard Jalen Brunson complain.
Yeah, like I said, I like how you started. Me and my kid never had a conversation. What you talking about? You gonna play regardless. Shout out to Tibbs, man. The Blazers lost the last 5 games, but what you like about this team, man? Young court, how we up?
I like how hard they play.
Okay.
They exciting to watch. They need to get rid of Grant.
For Jeremy Grant?
Yeah, not even for him. He just don't fit that team. Like, they had something going with them young boys. They had one dude coming off the bench, man, I can't remember his name, but he was competing hard. What's my guy's name? What's his name?
that went to played in Washington. I don't know how to say his name.
Abijah, yeah,
There you go. He be playing well.
27-15.
He be playing well. I just like them young guys. Like, let them young guys rock out. Sit Jeremy Grant down and all them. And just let these young dudes, exciting team, some high flyers. Losing DeAndre Ayton, though, that played a role in why they were on the losing streak. Most definitely.
Somebody could use Jeremy Grant.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, go ahead and move him.
And hey, Simon too. He can go somewhere.
Nah, you gotta keep him.
Keep him? Okay.
Keep him because Parker on the way.
But DeAndre Ayton, losing him is the reason they fell off like this.
Okay.
He was playing well.
I'd love to see what draft pick they get and see what Chauncey do with him, especially if it's like to have your head coach be Chauncey Billups, bro. That's a hell of a head start. So if you get a Dylan Harper type player,
That's why
I
was kind of struggling with school. I'm like, you kind of built like Chauncey. You way more athletic. Like, why is it not? I mean, he had 30 points this game, but why is it not?
Translate so quick.
Yeah, like, and you got the opportunity.
Brian still learning the game too.
I get that, but you took a different road. Like, you've been in the NBA system for longer than everybody else. Like,
G
you
League
went
Unite.
G League Unite. What you did, 2 years in the G League? Or, I don't know.
Did one.
Just one.
But I'm just saying, you took that road.
True.
Played your rookie year. Second year almost finished. You ended it right now and getting over the 30-point game. I'm just wondering, like, what took so long for it to click?
Got click. But I do, I'm interested to see what they will do if they have an opportunity to get a bargain situation.
I think you got to, because on a bad, I ain't gonna say a bad team, but on a developing team, you want to see your number 2 pick have some moments. So he should be around 18 points a game.
For sure.
Even if he's shooting 40%.
Bare minimum for sure.
Yeah, he's 17, 18 a game. Easy.
Yeah.
18 and 6.
On that team though, we say with Jeremy Grant and Simon, he's supposed to take more shots than him.
Yeah,
nah,
bro.
I mean, Simon's gonna be the guy.
Yeah, he's number one option. But is he the third option?
But they
13,
play,
okay.
they play so fast.
Okay.
Like, think about all the kids that we seen get drafted. Like LaMelo was what, 2 picks, 3 picks, whatever he was. We seen him this second year. We made the All-Star game that man.
So yeah.
Just all these guys, like even Lonzo, his second year we seen like the league like Lonzo gonna be straight. We don't be like, is Scoop gonna be straight? We kinda be like,
Yeah.
We already talking about getting another guard. But if he was at like 16, 17, we'd be like,
Nah, I agree with the conversation.
The pressure and hype didn't help either. He damn had Zion Williamson hype coming into the league.
Yeah, people were saying, should they pick him in Scoop?
I remember those conversations.
For real, bro.
They were tweeting it, but that was a real conversation for sure.
You will soon though. Because 13-5 for top heavy first round pick, second round pick is pretty good, but it's just more expected out of you.
What was the year before though?
14. 13
and 5.
Now
it's not a bad year.
14 last year,
but it's not a bad. Yeah, I mean,
If you like the 18th through 30th pick, that's solid.
He number 2 pick.
That's what I said. It's more expected out of you.
Oh yeah,
That's what that's what I'm saying. Like,
you put 20th pick,
30th,
yeah, 13 and 5.
That's
like,
solid.
Oh, it's looking bright.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
2 pick. Nah.
Yeah, he was the third pick that draft for sure.
I mean, third, whatever.
Because B Mill too.
I think he was born in 04. That's crazy, boy.
Third pick. You just want to see a little more. Like Brandon Miller being 2 pick, we see like
Yeah.
he got it written on.
And plus point and like Michael and LaMelo. So
I just want to see a little more.
yeah.
But I mean, he got time.
And you remember the back and forth with Tim Thomas during that series? We don't speak that name. I'm sorry.
What happened? What happened?
Oh no. But I don't know.
I remember it, yes. It had nothing to do with me from the beginning, but it ended up me because of reputation.
What you do?
Well, I didn't fucking do shit. Jason Collins fouled that fat on that dude.
What?
Um,
Damn, they got mad. What the fuck? I didn't do shit.
Because he thought about it, he went back.
Right?
You know, Jason Collins fouled dude. Right, you can go look it up. We're not finna get this no energy on this show, man. I ain't talked about this shit yet. We're not finna. No, you good, Steve.
Oh, y'all don't get along?
Like I said, Jason Collins fouled dude and hurt him.
Foul dude, yeah, man. That's why I'm like, fuck.
He ain't got nothing there. No, he fucked up in the back.
That's why I'm like, fuck Hector.
So, I was busting their ass, right? And they asked dude a question, and he made a statement about what he was gonna do when he come back. And they baited him. Was like, well, you know they got Kenyon over there. And he
Said some shit like, you know.
Yeah, and it just went from there, man. I had nothing. I said all the thing I was doing was putting foot to ass out there on that basketball floor. That's all I was doing.
It's that random stray that come out of, you know what I mean?
Right. But you know, and y'all know me. Y'all been around me. I don't turn cheeks. I'm not a turn the cheek kind of a guy. So you start with me, I take it all. I'm gonna go with you. That's all, man. And I commenced in game 4 in the Garden, like 36, 14, and 5. Take this. This fucking sweeping.
Hey, yo.
Don't kick their ass, bro.
We're
not like Steve, now we can talk about it off air, Steve, but we're not finished. I'll give you all the details. Like, cause it's deeper, it went way longer and deeper than it should have. Like,
it went long.
Way out of, like, so.
That part?
Yeah. Still to this day.
Listen, man, I don't.
Okay, you're a man of the people.
So wait, so
I don't bother nobody.
I understand that.
So, like, y'all ain't been cool since. Not to say that been cool, but like y'all don't.
Do y'all want me to tell y'all the story?
Yes.
Okay, we are on Gills Arena presented by Underdog Woo Woo, and we love to hear stories.
If
you have a PG-13.
Who does that have nothing to do?
He put his hands on me.
Shut up. Hey, y'all want me to give these shit like what? So Jason Collins fired dude, he commits to call me from game, right?
Tell a story.
So the media said, when you come back, what you gonna do? He said, well, I'm gonna hit somebody. Well, y'all, you know they got Kenyon over there. He fake, who fugazi, this, that, and the third. Right? Oh, you can look it up.
I'm doing it right now.
Please look it up. So I go to shoot around to practice the next day. Media come and ask me about what he said. Before I go out and talk to the media, our PR people pulled me to the side. Dude had this disabled, removed. They had his picture on the back of the post, whiny Tim. They had his name, they had his picture on because he was whining about whiny Tim. I take the picture to my practice jersey and go talk to the media. Trolling in 2003,
2004, April 2004.
They asked me about it. I'm being sarcastic. But what y'all talking about? Like, I ain't read no article. Like, ain't nobody said nothing to me. But like, I don't know what y'all talking about.
because I couldn't understand.
I was way good enough just to be there.
Is that open?
What? What's open? Yes, open.
You want the light on?
Yeah, I'm streaming.
Okay.
Mm.
For the sake of vibrancy, I will be launched. The data requires scrutiny.
Quiet creature.
Become subdued.
Welcome in, everyone. I hope, as always, you're doing well wherever you are watching from. We have a very interesting analysis we're going to break down about strikes coming in Mexico against the drug cartels, how it's going to play out. This comes from the Atlantic Council. They did a nice breakdown of what exactly the American public might be able to expect when it comes to hitting the drug cartels in Mexico. We're going to get into all that and much more. It's kind of similar to what I've said before, which is a little cool for me to have been given my ideas of what the strikes will look like and then see some experts weigh in with their opinion and have them match up quite a bit. So before we get into all that, as always, please make sure to like and subscribe, comment with your thoughts below on how you want to see the drug cartels handled. Now let's get into it. So as we know, we've been preparing to deal with the drug cartels. We've been preparing to take out cartel leaders, manufacturing, supply lines, money, whatever it might be. The U.S. military is ratcheting up and up and up. And the big question is going to be, well, one of the biggest questions actually is, are we going to go in alone, or are we going to go in with the Mexican government? And there's been no decision made on that just yet, although I would say, given off the signs we've seen and the lack of information the Mexican government has, it would seem to indicate we plan on going alone. That's not for sure. Don't take that as rock solid. That's just looking at the signs, looking at the tea leaves, that we might attack without Mexico's help. Of course, we could do it with Mexico's help. So what will it look like? This is from the Atlantic Council. We're going to take two chunks of this. What will it look like if the United States attacks the Mexican drug cartels? Let's get into part one right now. So this is part one of a breakdown. Now, there's some other parts from the Atlantic Council that I'm not going to jump into right now. This is one of the steps. So we're going to go over two steps. This step would be identifying first targets. I'm going to read it to you from the Atlantic Council. I'll throw it up on the screen for you right here. It says, what cartels might the United States target first? Among the candidates, the Sinaloa cartel, and keep in mind, we have been flying spy flights all over Sinaloa to get information.
investor survey shows 85% believe that Musk's politics have a negative impact on the company. Grant Cardone is with us this morning. Grant, you just bought your daughter a Tesla. Is that your way of showing support for Musk and Doge?
100%. Elon Musk is doing things that most Americans are never in a position to do and wouldn't have the courage to do, you know, if they had it. So I wanted to support him. I actually bought one for my wife and one for my daughter, who just turned 15. She graduated from high school at 15 years old from being homeschooled, and I promised her a new car. We didn't know which one if she completed early, and she did.
Well, that's a vote of confidence, I must say. Trump's considering a tariff on timber and lumber imports. Now look, building costs are already going up a little with tariff and aluminum tariffs and steel. This is not good for your real estate development business, is it, right?
This will not hurt development at all. The problem in this country is we don't build enough. Like President Trump wants to drill, baby, drill. We need to build, baby, build. And when supply goes up, when we start building more, the cost of goods and services. So America can understand this. We have been charging for soft timber, softwood from Canada for years, okay, since before 2018. Same thing with aluminum and steel. This is not a new thing. What Americans don't know is that we've been paying 240% on products like cheese and milk back into Canada, okay, that we get charged, which is very unfair for us. So we can get hardwood from Brazil. We produce more hardwood and softwood, by the way, Stuart, than Canada does. Canada needs America. America does not need Canada, bottom line. There's more people that live in the state of California than the entire country of Canada.
Well, if the tariff struggle, shall I call it that, if the tariff struggle continues and it stretches out for a period of months, do you think the president can hold on to political support?
Yes, 100%, because we're going to have a boom in this economy like we've never seen before. You guys that are watching the stock market every day understand that Tesla's value as a company has not changed. The piece of paper that you hold has changed. So if you can liquidate easily and you get scared, you liquidate your stock. But the company, Tesla itself, has not changed. The value of the U.S. economy has not changed. We actually have more confidence in the economy today than we did 4 months ago. We have a direction, we have guidance, we have leadership. We have lower taxes coming, inflation's coming down. We have a pro-business president. And I believe in the second quarter of this year, we're going to see a boom in this country like we've never seen before, Stuart. So load up,
okay.
You know, get invested, and hold on, baby.
Grant, in November, you posted on X that you're considering a run for the governor of California, I believe. Where are you on that now? You're throwing your hat in the ring?
Well, you never know what a guy like me will do. You know, I am a patriotic American, and I'm extremely concerned about the state of California. As California goes, so does the rest of the country. It is a massive economy. All Americans should be concerned about it.
Well, are you ready to make an announcement? Are you want to make some news for us?
I'm going to be speaking. I will tell you this. I'm speaking at the RNC Saturday as a keynote speaker there to tell the people in California. California can be flipped, folks. Okay. You can flip it this cycle. You have 18 months. It can be flipped. But you need the right leadership and the right voice. And you need somebody that's run businesses, not just somebody that's been on politics or been on TV.
Sounds like you, Grant. I'm going to wait for that announcement on Saturday. Grant Cardone, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Always appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Let's kick it off with the hot topic of the hour. More world leaders traveling to Washington, D.C. today to meet with President Trump. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte will meet with the president at the White House today to discuss security in Europe throughout the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. This following yesterday's Oval Office meeting with Irish Prime Minister Michael Martin for the annual St. Patrick's Day celebration. Trump calling out the country for taking advantage of U.S. pharmaceuticals. The EU and Canada, meanwhile, responding to Trump's tariffs yesterday with retaliation. We've got retaliatory countermeasures. The president now considering tariffs on the lumber industry, he says, for national security concerns. President Trump also touting his own administration's accomplishments in a post-Bidenomics world. Watch.
I think a lot of the stock market going down was because of a really bad 4 years that we had. When you look at inflation and all of the other problems, that I mean wars and inflation and so many other problems. But we're going to have very good years. I don't know if you saw a little thing like the cost of eggs, little to you but big to people out there, down almost 30% in the last few days. The very big thing that I'm very happy with is oil is down to $65 a barrel. And that's faster than I would have intended. We put on the gas, we stepped in the gas in order to get oil. And when energy comes down, prices are going to be coming down with it. So in a very short period of time, we've done a very good job.
Yeah, and all of this optimism over the policies coming out of the Trump administration, and yet we still have all this nervousness, Mark, in terms of whether or not we're going to see a real slowdown later.
Well, I mean, tariffs are obviously causing uncertainty with investors, but also CEOs.
Yeah.
I mean, when you don't have clarity, it's tough for you to really implement your growth initiatives. So they're kind of in wait-and-see mode right now. But I think it's important for the viewers at home who might be concerned about how tariffs are going to impact them to understand what worst-case scenario looks like. And as a country, we have total personal income of about $25 trillion a year. The total amount of goods we import is $3.3 trillion a year. If there's a 25% tariff on every single thing we import, that equates to a 3% increase in tax on the taxpayer. Is that fun? No. Is it the end of the world? No. If you then pair that with no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, no tax on tips. He just floated no income tax on any income under $150,000.
Right.
Now you've completely offset the cost of tariffs, and I think a lot of people would actually like that.
Yeah, I mean, we also see this effort by corporate America to say, you know what, President Trump is going to want me to build it here.
Yeah.
And they are making plans to transition supply chains right now, many.
That's great. I mean, if we can bring stuff here, number one, we know we're not going to have issues if there's ever another pandemic or 100-year flood, right? But number two, it creates jobs for Americans, high-paying jobs, jobs that they appreciate and value.
And that's what the president wants.
Well, and we're missing the biggest picture item right now, and that's bringing jobs back to America. Nobody's talking about that. When you demand manufacturing jobs back to the United States of America, you're going to see immediate job growth. We saw that in Ohio. JSW Steel, that has a subsidiary here in Ohio, has been competing with Mumbai, which is where their base is. We're looking at, the CEO said, 100 jobs this year coming back to the state of Ohio. And that's just Ohio. When you look worldwide, we're going to continue to demand this. And I understand market volatility. It's going to go up and it's going to go down because there's so many things happening, Ukraine, Middle East. But the bottom line is President Trump told every CEO, every American, I'm going to invoke tariffs because I want it to build better here in America. And that's exactly what he's demanding. So CEOs had enough time to make plans to start moving their base here, headquarters here. We have given far too less to the American people. The fact that he talked to Ireland's prime minister and said that most of our pharmaceuticals are in Ireland, I looked it up, Maria, 9 out of 10 pharmaceutical companies are in Ireland. So again, we're not being self-reliant. We're actually relying on foreign countries and many adversaries.
The electricity in Minnesota.
Well, 100%. Yeah, that also speaks to the tax situation in Ireland. Remember when Obama raised corporate taxes, so many companies went and headquartered in Ireland.
Yes.
Right, at a 9%
Apple's whole organization, with the whole thing that they lost in taxes in Ireland. Absolutely. I want to say, Maria, though, that this is a wake-up call for Americans. You know, we really outsourced. We became very litigious. We had all these protectionist laws of our worker, and so we outsourced that to the Asian theater because it was a lot cheaper, and we could get it imported into Walmart basically and distributed to the American population for very cheap, cheap. And so now what we want is we want the jobs to come back, we want manufacturing to come back, but we want to complain, to Mark's point, about a 3% maybe tax increase for the people that are making above $150,000. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, let's bring it back here so we can be, we can self-emulate. If the world implodes, we can be self-sufficient, which we should be able to be in our country with all of our natural resources. You can't say that and then say, but please give it to me at these cheap Walmart prices that we've been paying for 3 decades, because you can't have it both ways.
Well, the president's also calling out the Biden administration for the border crisis, of course, unvetted people coming in. Watch that.
This country needed somebody to defend it. It's this big, beautiful place that was being ripped off by illegal illegal immigrants coming in from prisons, coming in from mental institutions, gang members, gang leaders, drug dealers, pouring into our country with the open borders. The worst people allowed into our country, and we're now getting them out. This should have never happened. This should have never happened. So we're bringing back our country in many ways, not only financially, and financially we'll be stronger than ever before. I think the markets are going to soar when they see what's happening.
ICE arrests since Trump's inauguration already outpacing all of the arrests made for the entire year 2024. Acting Director Todd Lyons now accusing the Biden administration of, quote, cooking the books on ICE data. He says the majority of the 113,000 arrests made in fiscal year 2024 were pass-through arrests. In other words, he says we found tens of thousands of cases recorded as arrests when, in fact, these instances were illegal aliens simply processed and released back into American communities. ICE stressing none of the 32,000 interior arrests made under Trump so far have been labeled as pass-throughs. 14,000 are convicted criminals and nearly 10,000 have pending criminal charges. This is a big story. I mean, they were just arresting them, processing them, sending them back into the street.
Right. And Maria, this doesn't surprise me. Remember, I visited the border last year, and what Border Patrol told me was that they were glorified babysitters. They didn't have enough funding. We know that. Biden cut funding for CPD. So what they were doing was processing and releasing to anywhere in the United States of America, and then they were given a date to come in front of an immigration judge. When you're not processing, when you don't know if somebody's a convicted criminal or not, when you don't check identities, and remember, that happened in October. The New York Post broke that story, where ICE was allowing people in without proper authorization, without proper ID. And number one, Biden and Mayorkas said the border is secure. Lie after lie after lie. So this doesn't surprise us. We just have to get this under control right now. That's all that matters.
I was wondering who was really leading this effort to keep this border wide open, because we know Joe Biden was, incapacitated in many cases, right? So who was it? Was it Alejandro Mayorkas? Was it somebody else leading the administration to allow all of this?
Probably. Mayorkas had to play a part. But if you remember, on your show, we saw the videos of the migrants crossing the border, waving into the camera saying,
network.
This is going to be the average net worth by age in America, according to the Federal Reserve. From age 20 to 25, you can see the average net worth is going to be negative $27,000, while the median net worth is going to be negative $13,500. So this makes a lot of sense. Most of us have student debt to pay for our careers in the future. We might be leasing our first car. These put us all in a negative net worth, which is totally fine. So even if you're at zero, you're doing perfectly fine. From age 25 to 35, average net worth is going to be $76,300, while the median is going to be $13,900. So this makes sense because most of us by 30 have decent paying jobs, probably have a car under our name, and 10 years of income that we could save. By age 35 to 45, average net worth is going to be $436,200, while the median is going to be $91,300. So this makes sense to me because a lot of us by 35 to 45 are going to be dabbling into real estate, our retirement funds, our assets are going to be appreciating in value, and that's why I think there's a big difference between that 25 to 35 range. Age 45 to 55, the average net worth is going to be $833,200, while the median is going to be $168,000. Another huge jump to the appreciation of assets. I mean, this makes sense because there's a double in money. Usually, if you invest in things like the S&P 500 or the total stock market, you could see a double in your money every 6 to 8 years by following the rule of 72. From age 54 to 65, average net worth is going to be $1,175,900, while the median is going to be $212,500. I mean, this makes sense to me once again due to the appreciation of assets. I mean, after 40 years of investing in things like your Roth IRA, your 401k, you should probably have $1 million due to that 40 years of compound interest. For me, however, I think 59 and 65 is way too late to retire, and I think no one should pay the price of having to work or have to rely on work for your entire life. So for me, my retirement age goal is going to be 38 by aggressively saving in my 20s and my 30s and investing that into things like index funds, and hopefully I can live off of that, and I want to share that journey with you guys.
Oh, the old fire movement. I remember thinking I was going to retire at 35. And the older I got, and I got kids and a wife and a family and everything, I quickly realized the early retirement was not for me. And I'm going to continue to work probably the rest of my life, but I'm going to do stuff that I like to do and get paid for it, because that's literally like a dream come true, right? Net worth. That's what we're talking about today, guys. We are talking about your net worth, one of the very basic financial measures out there to distinguish where you are at financially. Quick calculation of how to calculate your net worth. If you guys are watching today's video and you want to see kind of where you stack up on these numbers, take up all of your assets. I'm talking money you have in cash sitting in your safe under the mattress, money you have in your checking and savings accounts, any investment accounts that you may have, your home if you own one, that equity in your home, any other type of investments you may have out there is considered an asset. Ownership in business considered an asset. And then you take that and you subtract your liabilities, and that gives you your net worth. Liabilities are basically your debt. So your debt from student loans, cars, homes, real estate, whatever that is, add all of those up, and those are your liabilities. Take your assets, subtract your liabilities from your assets. Whatever you have left over will be your net worth. If you have nothing left over and you're negative, you're in the negative net worth. Now, if you're starting off in life, well, that's pretty typical. I mean, I had a negative net worth of over $60,000 when I graduated college at 24 years old. You got to start somewhere, right? So don't get discouraged. Even if you are older and you have a negative net worth, understand that you guys can start changing that today. Now, one thing that does concern me is in that 54 to 65 age range, if I only had a net worth of, $200,000, it's very, very, very hard to retire off that type of money if that's all you have and no other income coming in to show for it. Probably wouldn't be able to retire. So that's why I like looking at this number. It's your net worth. It's a good number to study. I look at it, I used to measure my net worth every single month. Now, busy I've gotten stuff, I do it once a quarter. So every quarter I measure my net worth. I show my wife and I, we go through it, see our assets, liabilities, where we're at, where we stack up. I like to measure to see how my net worth has grown throughout the years. I've been measuring my net worth since 2016. And if you guys are looking for a net worth tracker template, I have a complete budget template down below in the description. You can go to my Etsy store, purchase it for only $10. It's a budget tracker, debt payoff tracker, net worth tracker, the whole 9 yards. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you click that link down below in the description to get that tracker today.
My net worth is $615,000 at the age of 26. In order to calculate my net worth, I have to take all my assets and subtract all my liabilities. This is my first rental property, and I have $90,000 of equity in this house. This is my second rental property, and I have $130,000 of equity in this house. This is currently my primary residence, and I have $125,000 of equity in this house. And lastly, I have about $270,000 in the bank. Also, I own a roofing business that specializes in residential residential roof replacements. But since I've only been in business about 2 years and I'm still the owner and operator of this business, it is hard to put a possible equity value on the business, so I'll leave it out of my net worth for now. Trust me, I'm not bragging about my net worth because honestly I'm not satisfied with where it's at. But I do know how far I've come because back in 2020 I started with literally $0 in my checking account and I was living paycheck to paycheck. So I've accomplished all this in 2 years and I'm just getting started. So follow me to watch me chase a net worth of $10 million by age 35.
Alright, so I've shown this clip in a previous video, and when I did, the comment sections went a little back and forth on if they believe this kid or not. I'll tell you this, I'll give you my opinion, I 100% believe him, and the reason I do is because I see other kids just like him, even younger. I mean, I know a guy who owns part of a wholesaling company, he's 18 years old, here in my local area. And so I agree with him. There are young kids killing it like this. And if any youngin bought real estate in 2019-20, they have appreciated massively over the past couple of years, and they're sitting pretty with some nice equity gains, 100%. Now, the one thing to worry about if you're a youngin in this situation is the amount of leverage or the amount of debt that you have to your name. That would concern me a little bit if we saw a major economic crash and then something happened and you're not able to make those debt payments. Yikes, now we're looking into some stuff that's pretty scary. But for the most part, yeah, I mean, to answer kind of the comments from that last video, I believe this kid 100% because I know there's kids out there like him killing it. It's awesome to see. And here's a little quick tip too for you youngins out there. If you guys are looking to get around with like-minded people who are doing this kind of stuff, one thing that I've always done is going to real estate investing meetups. Usually you can find these by looking through Facebook groups or Instagram or see if there's anything on Bigger Pockets in your local area. See if there's any meetups and then just one night go to them. Gain the courage, go introduce yourself to some random people and listen to the stories. And you'll be shocked at some of the relationships you can build at those meetings by just going regularly. And show people you actually want to do something, right? Like show them, prove it. And when you actually start making progress, that's where people look at you like, dang, this young kid, he knows what's up. He's putting in his work. That's a huge tip, guys. You can meet some awesome people and get surrounded by people that are willing to do things or have already gotten to a point in life that you want to be at.
So I'm 31 years old and I have about a $370,000 net worth, which is a lot to some people and not very much to other people. Personally, I'm really proud of it because back in 2019, I had a negative $70,000 net worth and I didn't know anything about money. I was like stressed all the time about money. I couldn't handle a $500 emergency. I lived paycheck to paycheck. I didn't know what a 401k was. And part of that is because I spent most of my life believing I was just bad with money and that was just a character flaw. Since I thought you either had it or you didn't, you were either good with money or you're bad with money, I never like went out to try and learn. I just thought the solution to my problem would be to like find a partner who was good with money and then let them do all the money stuff. I didn't think I could learn about it. When we do that, we're literally giving our power away over the most valuable asset we have, money. I mean, let's be real, money is tied to literally everything. Our security, our ability to leave a toxic job, toxic relationships, literally everything. Therapy. Now this whole lease of mine got me in some really bad, dangerous situations in my 20s where often I had to live with abusive exes because I didn't have any money for them. And I was way too ashamed of the situation that I found myself in to like reach out for help. And there were so many times in my early 20s where I'd have like panic attacks from not knowing how the heck I was going to pay rent. I even went like $15K in credit card debt for a super shitty ex. But thankfully, eventually back in 2019, I had this kind of Jesus moment where I was like, all right, common denominator here is you, Chloe. Well, like let's rely on somebody else to come and swoop in and save us. It's just really not working. So I started educating myself on how to money. I started learning where my money was going. I started focusing on increasing my income as much as possible, and here we are now. So I've increased my net worth by almost $500,000 since 2019. I am super proud of that. But why am I sharing this, right? I'm sharing this because I want to answer your questions. So drop your questions down below. I do have an entire playlist of how I did this. But I also want you to know that big change.
Put the hands on their knees.
Cut it off, cut it off, cut it off. Well, who was talking to you? You're so pretty. But you got your foot cocked up on the stage like you don't play that. You think he cute? That's a no. That's a no. That's a get the fuck out of here. What she about to say, I mean, it's alright, you know, it's alright. You're cute, but no, okay. Are you single? You single? So this is your friend? That's your, oh, that's so cute. Hey, brother. This is uncomfortable, wasn't it? Uncomfortable? They had a nigga in there with his text. Yeah, you want me to give you a braid down? That don't know how to braid hair. He lying. He lying. Like all of them do, right? Just lying. That's half the battle. Shut your mouth. A lot of y'all women in here got okay vagina. Shut your Because if you think about it, statistically speaking, the majority of men don't even have sex. Statistically speaking, the majority of men are not sexually active. Because women out here having sex with the same niggas over and over again. So how they even know if it's alright? And you ain't even getting none. Okay. It sucks because some of the car, if you in here and you in a relationship, that's gonna be an awkward car ride home. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna be driving home with your boo like, damn, is my right? Like, babe. Now you gotta ask your man, back. He in the bed going to sleep, back. Now in the middle of having sex, you look at him in his eyes. It's not all right. Let me see. You see the faces he made. I'm gonna give y'all a gift, ladies, real quick. I'm gonna give y'all a gift. Y'all ready? Kegels. As soon as you say the word Kegels, women just start bumping. 1, 2, 3. How many women in here started doing Kegels when I said it? They just in their seat. The seat just lifted. They just Kegels. I can hear a white woman in the back. She off beat and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. All right, now that we're friends. She was 16, she told me she hated me.
Oh my god, I messed that up. Oh my god, I messed that up. Let's slow that down. That was crazy. You had the first strike. Drill. He's supposed to get drilled twice all over. That's crazy. So
that women carry market on where parents come to advertise their unmarried sons and daughters. These types of markets happen a lot, several times a week, all over China.
We met up with the local matchmaker, Mr. Yang.
这个地方什么时候开始我不太清楚，但是几年前就有这个，几年前一直就有，但是就是这些人呢，这些人都是自发组织起来的，哎，对对，不是，我这里有我这里男孩女孩都有，这里好多都是，你看，都是女孩子很多，有资料也有电话，就是他们基本情况，有电话都是孩子的家长留下的，我这里还有好多照片。 应该说是很漂亮吧。
So she's born in 1980, so she's actually 35.
Is it difficult for her to find a husband at that age?
很困难，不管他长得多好，这个男同志啊，男孩子找女孩啊，他的条件我总结出个就是什么呢？他找都是找年轻未婚，长得好，这三个看着缺一不可。这样。 刚才那个老太太，就是她的女儿，1.79米的个个子太高，哎，那就不行了。女孩现在咱北京市找对象，女孩1.65米，身高是最合适的。所以现在呢，女孩在北京女孩找对象，那确实是应当是很费劲，很费劲的。
Although China's one-child policy, which was introduced in the late 1970s, was recently revoked, for parents, it has meant that an unmarried son or daughter is the end of the family lineage. That's why it's seen as a parent's final duty in life to see their children married off.
对好多家长这里就上心理惦记，如果找不到，那心里真着急。有的家长睡不着觉，就跟我打电话，他们就给我打电话，说什么呢？是吧？年终
Is it possible to make an ad for me and see what happens?
那行，你等一等啊，等我跟他说两句啊。哎，您怎么着？他们等一等。
我是老板。去帮那个828840岁。我跟你讲，他们旅行的也周细一点吧，他们的这样的那个月份跟年份的。
Alright, what's up, Drag Group? Today I wanted to try something different. I found out that there's Magic Jeopardy trivia online, and I just wanted to try it, see how good we could do with it. We did a version of this on our Magic Mike's podcast, and people kind of liked it, but that's one we came up with, and I found a site where this was just online. So I figure I'll go over the questions with y'all live and see how many y'all get, how many I get. So let's go see what this is all about. Alright, there don't seem to be any set rules, so I'm going to assume we're going to play this just like regular Jeopardy, right? Like, if we take a guess and we miss, we lose points. I'm probably just not going to guess if I don't know, but just saying, if I do, we lose points. Otherwise, I think we just go down the categories is probably the best way to do this, and then I will try to answer slow enough that y'all have a chance at home to guess. So let's start with Planeswalkers, and then I'll work our way over to name that color. So it looks like the categories are Planeswalkers, Commanders 2. It doesn't really say what that means, so I don't know if that means it's from like the second Commander set or something. Keywords 2. Oh, there must be other ones, because this is at the top. I can see where it says Jeopardy 2. So maybe the other puzzle had, or the other quiz had Commanders and keywords. And this is stuff with card draw and then name that color. Okay, let's start here. Each untap each enchanted permanent you control. What? Oh, okay, I get it. So this is a line of text that appears on a Planeswalker. this sucks. Like if this is how we're starting, I'm so cooked on this because I have no idea what Planeswalker this is. This I don't think I can take a guess. Untap each enchanted permanent you control. This is probably not a main set Planeswalker if I were guessing, but it's probably like the best I have. So I'm just gonna reveal the answer. I don't think I know this one. It's Estrid. The I don't know if I could do a larger image for y'all, but yeah, Estrid the Mask. This is definitely from a commander set. So I am not 100% familiar with some of the commanders from the commander sets, but all right, cool. Next question. Planeswalkers for 200. Restart the game. Leave in exile all non-aura permanent cards exiled with this. Then put those cards on the battlefield under your control. Oh, I know this one. This is dang it. It's one of the Karns. Karn. Oh, it was played a lot for a minute. Karn Liberator. That's the answer. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. All right, cool. So we get, what was that, 200? So, we just have to plus or minus. And if we get it right, we plus. If not, it hits a minus. And we just keep track of the score. That's pretty cool. Whoever put this together, thank you. Like, this is a pretty cool way to do this. All right, next question. For 300, reveal the top card of your library. Put it into your hand. This Planeswalker deals damage to itself equal to that card's converted mana cost. Each card. Oh, I actually played with this one. This is Sarkin. Which Sarkin is it? The black-red one? Sarkin the Mad? Is that what that guy was called? Whatever. I'm giving myself half credit if that's not the name. Okay, it is Sarkin. I don't know why. I thought it might be something. But yeah, I actually played with this a little bit in standard when it was legal. So yeah, we get another one right. That's actually good. I thought this was gonna be harder based on that first question. For 400. Target permanent doesn't untap during its controller's next untap set. You know what? This is a good one to have in here because it's kind of a trick. Because if you read this, it reads like it's a blue Planeswalker, right? Tap a permanent and doesn't untap or whatever. But I know this isn't a blue Planeswalker because I played with this in standard, and it's a Johnny. It's the red-white one. Gosh dang it! I'm so bad with names now though. But I know which one this is. It's because it's him. It's got the artwork where he's like, oh gosh, a Johnny Vengeance. Is that what that? Yeah, that's what that one's called. Yeah. This was a weird card, honestly. This was cool. I remember playing with it in standard, but yeah, not super popular, honestly. But I do remember that ability. That's what I was like, because I've actually used this card, so I knew that one. That was pretty cool. All right, so we get another point there. Did we get 4? So we're at 900. Yeah. All right, 500. Last one in this category. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. I don't. This is definitely going to be a blue Planeswalker. It's not any of the. I don't think it's any of the Teferis. It's not any of the Jaces. I mean, is it a Tameo? Tameo will let you copy a thing. I don't know which one this is, y'all. I'm just not guessing. I don't think I know this one. I feel like they're gonna reveal it. I'm totally gonna know what it is, but yeah, I don't know this one. So I'm just gonna reveal. Oh, it wasn't Tameo. Tameo, Collector of Tales. Oh, this is the one from the last Ravnica set or whatever. The War of the Sparks. I don't know if I've ever actually played with it. Huh. Alright, cool. Yeah, I definitely didn't have a chance to get that one. Alright, not bad though. We got, what, 3 out of 5 in the first one? So I feel pretty good. That's a good start. Let's go into Commanders 2 and see what this is about. This is the most popular Grixis Group Hug and Wheel-based commander. I don't know about Group Hug, but if it's the Wheel-based commander and it's Grixis, it has to be Necrosar. I don't anybody anybody who's played against Necrosar knows that it's full of things that you draw and discard or whatever. So I'm going to lock that in as my guess. Oh. Well, they're Lincoln first. Hold on a second. Alright, I just put in Legendary Commanders in Grixis colors. And the only one that makes sense would have to be Necrosar, this guy. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Necrosar deals with damage to that player. So I don't know if that's supposed to be their answer or not, but I'm giving myself credit for it, because Necrosar has to be correct. I can't imagine it's anything else. In the comments, y'all let me know if it's right for me to take credit for that.
Nobody reads Modalian Hexcatcher. Nobody.
The most underrated thing about Zion is he can jump off his left leg also with the same force. J.R. Smith. Like people know he can jump off the right. A lot of people don't know he can jump off the left leg too as a right-hander. Yeah.
He's insane.
What's the funniest? I said it. He jump off too. Yeah. So he's a rare. He's a rarity. He jump off.
I really understand why you said you should trade him.
You can't.
Like you can't give him up.
Me right now, I'm gonna be thinking about this for the future of. My goal will be trying to move him to the 2 or the 3. He's a more powerful Dwayne Wade. Zipper up, pick and roll, like, cause he passes the ball. Yeah. Like he has vision. He knows how to play point. So keeping him at the 4, cool, but
we got that.
Him coming downhill, taking people off the dribble, even posting up the 2s, and then I can get taller to keep the wear and tear on him, let him bully the fuck out of the guards, right? It's not like he gets beat off the dribble or any of that. I would be trying to move him to the 2 and the 3. To save him from all this jumping and trying to block shots in the back with those knees. And I mean, it's just like when you look at him, it's like he's too strong for the fucking 4 man out there. He's pushing through them. What if he's sitting there pushing up Clay? Like think about the 2s.
Yeah.
That would be trying to guard.
Yeah.
Zipper up, swing through, like damn.
Okay, just put the ball in his hand like they did Bron, dog. Like Giannis, Bron, just get the ball, get the fuck out the way. Let him make all the decisions. Like I think that's where they best suited.
So Zion is lefty, but practically ambidextrous. Really not meaningful. No, that's fair. I mean, if you can get him, I'm definitely just give him the ball.
Just put the ball in his hand, surround him by shooters, get you a big, surround him by shooters, just like they did Giannis. And good luck trying to stop him. Good luck.
Like shooters, like yeah.
When they win there though.
Huh?
No.
Win?
Yeah. So I mean, it's gonna be great seasons, but he's gonna have great seasons. But is he?
Man, a lot was expected of this squad after injuries.
His peers is like.
Man, listen. Let's just be honest. Like some of these cities are they're just capped off. Like some of these cities are just they're just playoffs. They're just playoff teams. First round, they're just happy with that.
Willie Green's contract.
Right. That's it. Like so, you're looking at like a team like right now the Blazers, a team like them, Minnesota, and Charlotte, Utah. These are guys that a great season for them is getting over 45 wins. If they can make it to the playoff, they will raise their ticket prices. They don't care about the playoff win. That's bonus. Yeah. 0-4, cool. They got there. can sell that. That's a good season for them. He's in one of those cities. He's not in a city that they're thinking we're going to win a championship at some point. There's only 5 or 6 teams that's going into the season, and they're strategizing the next 5 years. We're trying to win a championship.
No,
Let me bring to answer your question. Got a contract extension back in April of 2024. Details on report, but I think it's like an additional 3 years, so he should be here for a while.
Yeah, like him getting.
We know that don't mean shit.
I understand.
Hey!
I'm not firing him. I'm not trying to feel like that. We know what your teams are, bro.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Like, I'm not firing the guy.
I know we signed an extension.
I mean, like, what am I? Like, really, what we expecting? We seen what you're drafting, what you're expecting. Like, is my superstar happy with you? That's all I want to talk about.
I don't know. Johnson not that good as a team, but bro, have you watched them defend?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah, the Portland Trailblazers. Listen, man.
Chauncey Billups, the coach of
Yes, man.
the Portland Trailblazers.
Portland
Yes.
Trailblazers, not the Pistons.
The head coach of the Portland Trailblazers.
Not the Pistons.
Yes,
He played for them.
Not JB Bickerstaff, who is the coach of the Pistons.
Yeah.
your daughter is in Germany, but she wanted to party in Europe, so she's in college in New York, and some of her friends live in Germany. And she called me, she said, "Ma," and I said, "What?" And she said, "Girl," and I said, "Girl." And she said, "Do you know that the legal drinking age in Germany is 15? 15? I said, "What?" She said, "Yes." I said, "No." She said, "Ma, I can't have a drink when I'm here." I said, "No." She said, "Why not?" I said, "Casey, you are too young." And she said, "You know what?" She pulled a card, Jerry. She said, "You know what? Technically, I'm adult." I said, "So let me get this straight. You want to go to another country, have liquor for the first time, you don't know your limit, you don't know how these girls party. You can do what you want to do, but I'm going to tell you this now. I'm not that father from that movie Taken, okay? I don't have no special set of skills. If you get taken over there, baby, you just going to be took. You know what? I can't help you. You know your daughter is in Germany, but she wanted to party in Europe, so she's in college in New York, and some of her friends live in Germany. And she called me, she said, "Ma," and I said, "What?" And she said, "Girl," and I said, "Girl." And she said, "Do you know that the legal drinking age in Germany is 15? 15? I said, "What?" She said, "Yes." I said, "No." She said, "Ma, I can't have a drink when I'm here." I said, "No." She said, "Why not?" I said, "Casey, you are too young." And she said, "You know what?" She pulled a card, Cherry. She said, "You know what? Technically, I'm adult." I said, "So let me get this straight. You want to go to another country, have liquor for the first time, you don't know your limit, you don't know how these girls party. You can do what you want to do, but I'm going to tell you this now. I'm not that father from that movie Taken, okay? I don't have no special set of skills. If you get taken over there, baby, you just going to be took. You know what? I can't help you. You know your daughter is in... I was trying to figure my life out today. I was trying to, when I was getting dressed, I was like, oh, you know, I had an outfit I was going to wear, and then I didn't wear it because it didn't stop raining. So I switched up my outfit, but I didn't switch up my underclothes. And now I got these thongs on, and it's killing me. Like, there's a couple of women in here that have been twitching. I know you too, it's us. It's just, it's like it's supposed to be in your ass, but goddamn, how far? Goddamn, you gonna cut me, shit. And I want to say that to all people who have sex, all the fellas in here who have sex, they want to be careful when we fragile. Be careful when you have sex with us. Some of y'all hitting from behind, you want to open us up too much. You'll tear us just a little bit at the top. Stop doing that. That hurts. The women quiet, but y'all know what I'm talking about. If you got ass, they'll tear you a little bit. You put on your pants, and it'll hurt right here because you raw. You raw right there. Don't spread that much. Slow down, fam. Relax. It's yours right now. Relax. I was trying to figure my life out today. I was trying to, when I was getting dressed, I was like, oh, you know, I had an outfit I was going to wear, and then I didn't wear it because it didn't stop raining. So I switched up my outfit, but I didn't switch up my underclothes. And now I got these thongs on, and it's killing me. Like, there's a couple of women in here that have been twitching. I know you too, it's us. It's just, it's like it's supposed to be in your ass, but goddamn, how far? Goddamn, you gonna cut me, shit. And I want to say that to all people in here having sex, all the fellas in here who have sex, they want to be careful when we fragile. Be careful when you have sex with us. Some of y'all hitting from behind, you want to open us up too much. You'll tear us just a little bit at the top. Stop doing that. That hurts. The women quiet, but y'all know what I'm talking about. If you got ass, they'll tear you a little bit. You put on your pants, and it'll hurt right here because you raw. You raw right there. Don't spread that much. Slow down, fam. Relax. It's yours right now. Relax. I was trying to figure my life out today. I was trying to, when I was getting dressed, I was like, oh, you know, I had an outfit I was going to wear, and then I didn't wear it because it didn't stop raining. So I switched up my outfit, but I didn't switch up my underclothes. And now I got these thongs on, and it's killing me. Like, there's a couple of women in here that have been twitching. I know you too, it's us. It's just, it's like it's supposed to be in your ass, but goddamn, how far? Goddamn, you gonna cut me, shit. And I want to say that to all people in here having sex, all the fellas in here who have sex, they want to be careful when we fragile. Be careful when you have sex with us. Some of y'all hitting from behind, you want to open us up too much. You'll tear us just a little bit at the top. Stop doing that. That hurts. The women quiet, but y'all know what I'm talking about. If you got ass, they'll tear you a little bit. You put on your pants, and it'll hurt right here because you raw. You raw right there. Don't spread that much. Slow down, fam. Relax. It's yours right now. Relax. I was trying to figure my life out today. I was trying to, when I was getting I was like, oh, you know, I had an outfit I was gonna wear, and then I didn't wear it because it didn't stop raining. So I switched up my outfit, but I didn't switch up my underclothes. And now I got these thongs on. This is killing me. Like, there's a couple of women in here that have been twitching. I know you too, but us, it's just, it's like it's supposed to be at, well, goddamn, how far? Goddamn, you gonna cut me, shit. And I want to say that to all people in here having sex, all the fellas in here who have sex with they women, be careful when we fragile. Be careful when you have sex with us. Some of y'all hit it from behind, you want to open us up too much. You'll tear us just a little bit at the top. Stop doing that. That hurts. The women quiet, but y'all know what I'm talking about. If you got ass, they'll tear you a little bit. You put on your panties and it'll hurt right here because you raw. You raw right there. Don't spread that much. Slow down, man. Relax. It's yours right now. Relax. I was trying to figure my life out today. I was trying to go on people's dress. I was like, oh, you know, I had an outfit I was gonna wear, and then I didn't wear it because it didn't stop raining. So I switched up my outfit, but I didn't switch up my underclothes. And now I got these thongs on. This is killing me. Like, there's a couple of women in here that have been twitching. I know you too, but us, it's just, it's like it's supposed to be at, but goddamn, how far? Goddamn, you gonna cut me, shit. And I want to say that to all people in here having sex, all the fellas in here who have sex with they women, be careful when we fragile. Be careful when you have sex with us. Some of y'all hit it from behind, you want to open us up too much. You'll tear us just a little bit at the top. Stop doing that. That hurts. The women quiet, but y'all know what I'm talking about. If you got ass, they'll tear you a little bit. You put on your panties and it'll hurt right here because you raw. You raw right there. Don't spread that much. Slow down, man. Relax. It's yours right now. Relax. I was trying to figure my life out today. I was trying to go on people's dress. I was like, oh, you know, I had an outfit I was gonna wear, and then I didn't wear it because it didn't stop raining. So I switched up my outfit, but I didn't switch up my underclothes. And now I got these thongs on. This is killing me. Like, there's a couple of women in here that have been twitching. I know you too, but us, it's just, it's like it's supposed to be at, but goddamn, how far? Goddamn, you gonna cut me, shit. And I want to say that to all people in here having sex, all the fellas in here who have sex with they women, be careful when we fragile. Be careful when you have sex with us. Some of y'all hit it from behind, you want to open us up too much. You'll tear us just a little bit at the top. Stop doing that. That hurts. The women quiet, but y'all know what I'm talking about. If you got ass, they'll tear you a little bit. You put on your panties and it'll hurt right here because you raw.
Hey Kendra.
Hey baby, what's your name, boo?
It's Renee.
Renee, where you calling from? Our new Kendra G singles dating app is available now.
Ultimately, the Thunder, the best team in the West, they went out there and they bested one of the best teams in the East. Another gigantic matchup. You saw the Celtics take down the Lakers, but then you just saw the Thunder take down the Celtics. Shady, what do you make of that matchup? You were texting the group chat during the course of the game. Do you believe the Thunder are the best team in the NBA?
Yeah, I think so. They're young, they run, they're fast, they play really, really good defense. And they play as a team. Even like after the games, and SGA obviously the MVP, candidate, whatever, and he gets player of the game majority of the time. And he always has his team behind him. Like, they really love and enjoy each other. Chuck last night played well, right? That length, that size, rebounding, be able to run the floor, shoot the three ball. Earlier in the game, I was like, man, the Celtics are switching to doing well on defense against SGA. And then in the second half, he turned that thing down. Did you see him? What? So I don't know how you beat this team, right? I think they gained a lot of confidence last year, really, really good, and then they lost in the playoffs. Nobody expected that so early. And then this year you see them play, man, they balling out. And Adam Williams didn't even play last night. So I'm super confident, man, of this team going forward. I know we want to talk about the Warriors, we talk about the Lakers and all these other teams in Denver, but we're not talking about the #1 seed. I don't understand that. And they have the MVP on that squad, so doing a great job. I will say this though, the Celtics kind of made it easy because they shot a lot of carry balls. 63. They shot 36 threes in the first half. That's a record.
Yeah.
So as I look at the Celtics, 63 in the game, and the thing is, I do think it'll be, if this is the finals, it'll be a lot harder, obviously. Yeah. I think JB has a better game, right? He played well. And then, Drew Holiday just coming back from injury. He's kind of been slow down a little bit, playing good defense. I would love to see him on SGA a little bit more, and being a little bit more aggressive on offense, but this is a great game.
I can't confidently say the Thunder are the best team in the West. Confidently say it. I don't know. I mean, I've been watching a lot of ball lately. And the problem is, I saw the Nuggets beat down the Thunder. The day after I saw the Thunder beat down the Nuggets. I saw the Lakers beat down the Nuggets. Then I saw the Lakers get beat down by the Celtics. Then I saw the Thunder beat down the Celtics. And to David's point is basketball, but what I would suggest, and now I'm vehemently disagreeing. I used to just listen to, it's the regular season. Nah, bruh. These games are being played like playoff games right here, right now. If you watch the intensity, if you watch the tenacity, if you watch the coaching, if you watch the energy, if you watch the effort, we're not just watching, middle of November regular season games. No. Right now, we watching highly competitive playoff games. So when I watch just the West, even if you watched it yesterday, after watching the Nuggets beat down the Thunder, I'm like, hey, the Nuggets are record with. Then you watch the T-Wolves have the Nuggets bench their players with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Yeah. So I can't confidently say, come playoff time, that any team is clearly anything. Nobody is clearly anything. The Celtics look like one of the best teams in the NBA. The Thunder look like one of the best teams in the NBA. But James, if you've been watching it really, really with that intense eye as of late, like I know you have, nobody is clearly better than anything.
And that's basketball. Some days you're gonna be on, some days you're gonna be off. But when you just talk about what they have and how they play the game, they're the best team in basketball. And it's crazy because my little kids play AAU basketball too, and we go on these basketball circuits, made hoop basketball circuits, big time circuits, right? And when you're playing just your local basketball, you go play these good teams, they got 2 players. You go to these made circuits, they got 5 of them. No, for real. So when we're playing local, my sons play football too, so defensively, everybody's strapped, right? So now when we go play 5 of them, they like, Bo, help us. No! Bo got his man. Now y'all thought your kids was all running. There's 5 dudes that can handle the rock and go now. You want him to help? No. He has his man. All right, let your son move his feet now. The OKC Thunder have that. They can defend, and then defensively, the Celtics can defend because they're athletic. They're athletic on offense. They got 4 dudes that can take you off the dribble and go get a bucket. They had 44 points in the paint last night. That's because they were getting to the paint, going by people, and getting to the free throw line. They shot 23 more free throws than the Boston Celtics because they were attacking the paint. They're athletic, they're fast, they can defend, and they can win games any way they possibly can. Shoot the 3 or attacking the paint. They're good basketball.
The Thunder right now are the best team in the NBA. And it could.
The reason for this, my colleague observed how there's like a little opening. It looks like somebody was trying to pry their way in through the stones that are there now. Look back at some old photos, piece the whole thing together. Wanted me to go there because I was living in Egypt. Wanted me to go there to film.
What about going back to some of the Egypt stuff though? Like with LiDAR technology, I'm just throwing out one random example right now where it is. Isn't there so much more we can now learn if we're given access to be able to do it on these places? Like you were talking about technology making big moves in the next 50 years. Some of it seems like it's here for us to get answers to this, but there's still like a blockage of like who's allowed to use what where.
There is some of that. That's true. That exists, but there's also a lot that's been done. People like they need to scan the Giza Plateau. They've already scanned it. Rami Rahmani, they did it for like a TV show. They've already done like a scan. Ground penetrating radar, there's tomography techniques. One that's being used or was recently used on Menkaure, the smallest pyramid, Iraq.
Hey guys, if you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It's a huge help. Thank you.
And they did it on the east. This is when I was living I had just moved back to the States earlier this year. When I was living in Egypt, one day I went to the Giza Plateau.
You were living near the Luxor.
I was living in Luxor, but I would go to Giza, I'd go to Aswan, so I was I was in Giza one day, and I noticed that they were doing all of the electrical tomography. They put all these little sensors on the pyramid. And it was the Scan Pyramids project. I was like, Scan Pyramids project? They were like, yeah. I was like, you're looking for the hidden entrance? They were like, maybe. That's all they could say. What's the hidden entrance? A colleague of mine, Stein van den Hoven, proposed several years ago that there may be a hidden entrance on the east side of the Menkaure Pyramid. he presented this before eminent Egyptologist Bob Breyer. He's the guy that does the whole series of ancient history on the great courses. A lot of people turn to him to get the whole history of Egypt. So I know you're talking about Luke before. Luke studied Bob Brown.
Yeah.
So Bob's a well-known Egyptologist.
Luke, by the way, Luke was just in here and did like, let's see, what was it, like 6 hours and 15 minutes straight of like the 27,000 year history of Egypt, and it was fucking incredible, bro. Like he was here over a year before that, right? And he had done a great job. But we did 2 episodes then too. One of them was all South America, another one was all Egypt. And what I love about Luke is he's such a humble student of the game. Like he felt like there were things on Egypt. He's like, fuck, I haven't brushed up on this in a while. So, as you know, like he went deep on that over the last year and a half. Went to Egypt, spent a lot of time there, or whatever. And bro, it was.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I appreciate that. I watched that first podcast. There were a couple little things about the pyramids he got wrong. He was just, he was more immersed in Maya studies. He's just kind of getting more into Egypt. Now he's had the opportunity to go there. He just
incredible.
We're co-leading a tour together this January. Me and Luke are doing the Secrets of the Sands tour, and then in September I have my annual signature Esoteric Egypt tour.
Very cool.
Over at depthexpeditions.com. Anyway,
we'll have that link in the description. Remind me to put it.
So and please feel free to join us. Yeah, so we'll be going back together, but I can really appreciate that he could take his time to learn more, come back, and then give you the history.
Yeah.
Bob Breyer's laid it out on the great courses, so you can find his work there. And so what he said, he went on Facebook and he was like,